This is Girl on Guy. Hey everybody, welcome to Girl on Guy 218. Welcome to the show. I know I don't get to spend as much time with you guys as I have in the past, and definitely not as much time as I would like. But a lot is going on. That is not a complaint, just a statement of fact. And I wanted to thank you guys for continuing to be so supportive and devoted to this show, despite the fact that it shows up in your virtual mailbox less frequently than a letter from your prison pen pal. You are a lovely group of people, and I appreciate you tweeting and reaching out and supporting the show. And it keeps me going when it is near next to impossible to get this show recorded, let alone cut and posted online. But I do have another episode for you finally, and it is a sensational one. So thank you for sticking around. It's been a big summer. For those of you who are Access backers, thank you so much. I did an update recently where I let you know that we're going to start to get rewards together. The summer has been almost entirely consumed with actually getting the movie edited. There were lots of changes and everything good, but just trying to, my very first feature, trying to put it together on a shoestring budget and doing a lot of it myself, as I want to do, including editing the thing. But we are very close to picture lock on that, which is very exciting. It's looking like a movie, and I'm really, really proud of it, and I couldn't have done it without you. So thanks to everybody who has backed the movie at whatever level you've backed it. And we are going to start to finally get those rewards together in the coming months and get them out to you. So stand by for that. Let's get a little bit of business out of the way briefly, but mercifully briefly. This episode of Girl on Guy is brought to you in part by Casper. Casper is a sleep brand that has created one perfect mattress sold directly to consumers, delivered in this cool, very small, how do they do that box where when you open the box, it comes springing to life like some magical kind of shrinky-dink, or those crystals you used to put in water and they would grow into little underwater castles. It's a really, really cool product, and it's not just cool, it is enjoyable and wonderful to sleep upon. The Casper is an obsessively engineered mattress at a shockingly fair price. It combines springy latex and supportive memory foams to create an award-winning sleep service with just the right sink and just the right bounce. Time Magazine named it one of the best inventions of 2015. It is an award-winning mattress that will not disappoint you either in your sleep experience or in its price or in its delivery mode and systems. It's a great product. There's free shipping and returns to both the US and Canada. Canada, you are up there, but you are not forgotten. You guys can get free shipping to your beautiful, crisp, fresh, and maple-scented country. And you can try Casper for 100 nights, risk-free in your own home. If you don't love this mattress, they will pick it up and refund every penny. This is a product that is made right here in the beautiful, sparkling, slightly deranged, good old US of A. And you can get a very, very special offer that is courtesy of Casper and gratefully and graciously brought to you by Girl on Guy. If you want to get $50 off any mattress purchase from Casper, visit casper.com/girlonguy and use the promo code GIRLONGUY. $50 off any mattress purchase at any price point by going to casper.com/girlonguy using the promo code GIRLONGUY. This is a no-lose proposition for you. If you've been thinking about getting a new mattress, why not try it? You can sleep on it for 3 months. It'll give you plenty of time to figure out whether this is the mattress for you. And if it's not, they'll take it back and give you your money back. Lying on a mattress for a few moments in some kind of creepy showroom is not the way to figure out if this is the mattress for you. And you are a busy person with lots to do. Why not order your mattress through the mail the way that you get everything else, including flip-flops, groceries, friends? I don't know how you get your friends. Check this out. It's a great offer from a great company. Go to casper.com/girlonguy. Use the promo code GIRLONGUY to get $50 off any mattress at any price point. Mattresses out there in the terrible wild can cost well over $1,500, but the Casper mattresses start at just $500 for a twin and $950 for a king. So you can't lose. Casper.com/girlonguy. Use the promo code GIRLONGUY for $50 off your order. Check that out. Okay, this episode is with a superlative human being who I admire from afar and delight in up close. She's a sensational person with a very interesting mind, Chelsea Handler. And we've been acquaintances for a long time. We've just recently become friends, but I'm thrilled that we are friends because she is a smart and thoughtful lady. And she has this brand new show on Netflix that launched this year. What's great about the new Chelsea show is it has all of the edginess and the cutting kind of wry, dry comedy and the no bullshittedness. That's not a word, but you understand what I'm saying, of Chelsea lately. But it's just operating on a smarter, higher plane. And I'm not trying to beat up E. I may beat up in this interview, but I won't beat them up now. But that was a pop culture network, and now she's on a Netflix, which is something that doesn't report on pop culture, but is driving pop culture. And so you can be uncensored, and you can be thoughtful, and you can have a longer, more wide-ranging, more intellectually driven conversation on her show. And that's what she's doing. She's exploring, she's challenging herself, she's challenging her guests, and I'm really, really impressed with that show. And I was a guest on it recently. It was a blast. And then she came and did my show, and it was so much fun. We did this in the brand new bunker. We had drinks, we chatted, and what I was really proud of was how open, and she's always open. You've seen her online. She's a very open book, but I love that in any context, Chelsea is always 100% fully herself, and she doesn't allow anybody else to be anything less than fully themselves when they are in her company. It was a great conversation. It was very open and honest and enjoyable, and I think this woman is just, kick-ass on all levels. And I know you're going to love this conversation. I think it's a unique one, and one that Chelsea admits very early on is a conversation that she's never quite had before. And I'm really, really proud of it. And I think she's superlative. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Girl on Guide 218 with the comedian and wildly best-selling author, a television host, and razor wit, Chelsea Handler. Coming at you straight out of the Girl on Guy bunker and right into your face. I'm recording. Put this in your mouth. I need this to be really close to you.
What?
First of all, you look very fit. I don't know what that's about. Chelsea Handler, welcome to my show.
Hi.
We're drinking.
Cheers. L'chaim.
Cheers, l'chaim, slancha.
You know what? I'm so into podcasts because people drink.
It literally, the reason that bar is so complex is because my goal was to offer people
great
booze
bar.
when they came to me. I was like, I'm a grown up and you're a grown up, and why shouldn't we be drinking right now?
That's a really great bar,
Thank
and
you.
I'm going to use that as a model for something.
You need to I feel like an adult when I look at that thing. That makes me feel very grown up.
Yeah, I like being an adult.
Right?
But I'm not a great mixologist, so I really need a bunch of cocktail recipes ready.
Well, that thing that I'm doing, and I'm not promoting it now, but I'm just telling you about it, is so that you don't ever have to make shit. It's a line of cocktails that you just pour into a glass, and then you're like,
Yeah.
hey, Manhattan. So because what I just did was a pain in my fucking ass, all that stirring and bullshit.
Yeah, I'm
right?
sorry that you had to do that. I'm sorry that you
I
have
did it for
company
myself.
and that you have to make a drink for them. I'm
You know
really
what?
sorry,
I'm a
because all I
giver.
had
I'm
was
a
vodka
giver.
straight on the rocks with a little
yes.
fucking Campari.
Yeah.
And you're already complaining about me
I
being
know.
here.
No, I love it. I love that
Very
you're here. I'm
ungracious.
complaining about my own difficulty. I'm difficult for myself. So many fucking questions. First of all, did you just give blood?
I did go to the doctor. I had
Okay.
some blood work done. I'm having a procedure done soon.
Oh my God, it's exciting.
Having a facelift. No, I just gave blood. Yeah,
That's
I went to my
good.
doctor.
Oh, yeah, I went like
on my
that,
way
yeah.
here. I was in Beverly Hills.
You're
That's
on
why.
fire.
That's why I was like, "What do I do now? I'm
Well,
done."
exactly. I'm coming to you. And you're also in your workout clothes, which makes me really excited.
And I have not worked out. Sometimes when I'm done taping my show, I just put on workout clothes because I'm like, well, maybe I'll just go do a couple squats in the gym or something.
Like a suggestion. Like,
And
let's see if this
then-
makes me want to do, and then nothing.
Today, I think I worked out for maybe 6 to 7 minutes. I just
Okay.
went and lifted weights for 7 minutes. And then I was like, I'm done with this.
Better than the alternative.
Yeah, exactly.
I often get up in the morning, put on my workout clothes, sit down to answer emails, and then that's
into
my
something
outfit
else.
for the day. I never work out, and I'm just in these fucking awful Nike shorts with the underwear built in.
Oh, wow. Do you have a
Do you have
penis?
all the shorts? No, but my balls. The penis is
yeah,
gone,
it's
but
like
I
a
still have the
penis
testicles.
net.
Just a little.
Those are the ones that have like
cupping.
a lobster net, like catch men's balls.
But the women's ones have them too.
Oh, I don't wear
And-
shorts, really.
Oh, you don't.
No, I don't
never?
feel confident really in shorts.
No.
Not anymore.
First of all, you're super fit. What's happening?
I
with
am,
you?
but I just feel like shorts are just a little embarrassing.
Okay.
Like I'll feel like I have to look down at my legs all the time and look like I'm just not a
Like,
shorts.
how's it going there? Yeah, what's
like
happening?
is there
Yeah.
cellulite on the back? Like what am I doing? Can I run? Am I allowed to
Right.
run in shorts?
Yeah, no.
I don't think I am.
Yeah, I don't know. I like them, but I work out mostly in like a private space. So like, I don't think I think about it that much. I just think, oh, these are like lightweight and aren't constricting
well, you're lucky.
to my testicles.
Then you obviously don't have the issues I do.
I have plenty of issues.
Well, but maybe you just don't have the same
I don't
physical
have the exact
issues.
leg
I'm
issues
very, very hypercritical of my own body.
Let's stop that right now.
I want to stop it. I'm actually working with this hypnotist about it because it's like my one thing that I have like a real, like, it's my Achilles heel. I really don't think I look good when I do, and I just need to stop.
Okay, well, first of all, you just answered all of your own questions, but I
just said I'm working with a hypnotist.
No, it's so very fucking cool. Don't apologize for your shit, man.
I'm not. I'm
cool.
just telling you the
truth.
truth.
I mean, hypnotists don't work, but whatever. I mean, just do it. You're rich and you need to put your money somewhere. So spend it on whatever. I don't know.
It helped quit
voodoo
smoking.
dolls. Did it?
Yeah, it worked. And that's why I said, hey, what else do you do? And he said, well, I work with, it's this guy everyone goes to in Hollywood.
Okay.
He's in Santa Monica. He's called Kerry Gaynor. And I went to him for smoking and that took. And I'm like, what else do you do?
That's
like,
amazing.
Weight loss, fear of flying, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I have major like food and eating dysmorphia, body dysmorphia, food, eating things. Like, I just want to be healthy.
Yeah.
And so he's like, okay, we can work on that, but it's going to take a lot longer than smoking. Smoking, you go 3 times.
Okay.
The first time you don't quit. The second time you never smoke again. That's the plan. And then you go the third time for reinforcement.
Ooh.
And everyone I know, and I was never a smoker,
Yeah.
but I smoked when I drank.
Yes.
Which is like 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah, that was me.
And if I partied, I would definitely be smoking. And then all of a sudden, one day I was driving to work and like wanted to light a cigarette in the morning. And I'm like, this is a problem.
Right, exactly. Because smoking is also kind of behaviorally enjoyable in addition to being addictive. Like, I don't know, I smoked when I was a kid and then a little bit in college. And I guess it's public knowledge now, but when I like started to go through my divorce, I for a nice period of time would get up in the morning and start drinking in the morning and smoking in the morning,
really.
right at the start of the day.
That's so good that you're honest about that because I'm sure so many people have done that.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not advocating alcohol abuse, but it fucking worked, man. It worked for me when it was happening. It was working for me because I felt terrible about myself and I needed to do something that was like self-soothing and a little abusive too. Like I kind of was feeling bad about me. And so the drinking and the smoking at the crack of dawn was like, this is exactly what I deserve. And then eventually I was like, okay, I'm done with this part of my life.
What happened? Like, Britt, can you just paint that picture for me? I'm very
getting up in the morning and smoking and drinking.
Like what kind of drink would you make at that time?
I would just pour like a bourbon and I would sit outside and I would drink.
Lou Rawls of you.
I'm trying to think. I was like Nick Nolte in like a cop movie,
and
like
smoke
drinking,
cigarettes?
and I would smoke a cigarette, and it was like,
oh my God, you must have really been going through something.
I was going through a lot. And whatever you feel when a relationship ends, guilt and self-hate and terror and a lot of other things. But the smoking part of it was there was a part of it that wasn't the nicotine. I don't know if you felt this way, which was just the activity of it was very soothing.
Yeah,
it was
I understand.
Like
it's not even like you feel good about it.
Yeah.
It's like you're just trying to palliate.
Yeah, you're palliating. You know what I mean? And there's the activity. All of it was like, you do it and then immediately you're like, why don't I just go suck on a car exhaust or lick like a homeless person's balls? Like it's awful. My mouth feels awful.
How long did this duration of time last?
I feel like it was like 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I came out of it. I mean, the really intense drinking was maybe like a few weeks, but then I would come home every day after work and I would have a drink and a cigarette. And then I was done smoking and drinking.
And were you working during this time?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. And you were able to go to work like that?
Oh, I was a wreck. It was a really interesting time.
You probably didn't even fucking make a dent in you.
No, I wouldn't, because I wouldn't sit there drinking. I would have a drink. Yeah, exactly. I think that by the time I was back at work, because I think I did that over like the holidays. I think by the time I was back at work, I wasn't drinking in the morning anymore. I would wait until the afternoon. I would get home from work and then I would start drinking.
Oh, good correction.
Yeah, well,
Way to cover it up.
Way to revise the history. Way to be a revisionist. So I always feel like the nicotine thing isn't as hard to let go as like when I drink I smoke, or when I'm with my friends I smoke, or I'm gonna go outside and like be with my feelings and smoke. Did you miss that part of it?
I don't care about smoking at all.
Okay.
I just did. First of all, anytime I smoked, like I didn't care. I don't know if it was a very casual thing. Like I would go, 7 or 8 days without a cigarette, and then I'd go out and somebody else would be, or there were plenty of times I drank and didn't smoke.
Right.
But first of all, I hate the fucking smell in the morning.
It's
grosses
repulsive.
Me out. The smell and I would do this thing in my car. I like to smoke in bed. Like I would smoke in my bed, like I was Betty Davis or something.
I
would lie in bed watching TV
character.
and fucking like smoke, and then I'd put my ashtray outside so that and then like it became a thing where like my cleaning ladies, I felt like they were shaming. Not they weren't shaming me, but like I told them so many times not to have cigarettes in the house for me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'd go get them and, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so then I would hide
Oh, well, you're
them.
entitled. It's your fucking house.
Well, I know, but still, I was like, why am I hiding cigarettes from my cleaning ladies? Like,
Yeah.
I would hide them in the ashtray, then get the ashtray and hide them in the trash in the morning so they wouldn't see. And I'm like,
Right.
all of your behavior right now
Right, it's just shame-driven.
is absurd. So you need to either get new cleaning ladies or quit smoking.
I was doing a thing where I would get a jar of water, and I would ash into the jar of water and then put the cigarette in the jar of water so I could flush it down the toilet.
And they don't flush, though.
No,
Fucking
they float.
cigarettes
Yeah.
do not flush.
They want
But
everybody to know.
It almost smells worse when you put it in the water than you just put it out. Like everything.
It stink.
In hotels, I would smoke and if I was really drunk, I would smoke, get home to a hotel, put them in like a thing, and then put a cap back on it.
Yeah.
So that the smell wouldn't,
Permeate
throughout the whole room.
Totally.
And it's just such a gross habit. You know what I mean? It's so much
disgusting.
nicer to eliminate it, and it's not an option. And that's what this guy tells you. He's like, it's no longer an option. That you don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
That's your old life. It's not an option. So it's
Yeah.
not like you can even have a conversation and entertain the thoughts. You're done.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
say, I'm done. It's not an option. And there's like a mantra and bullshit, but whatever. It fucking works. So I'm ready to examine what else will work.
Okay, so now you're going back to for the body image issues, which I'm so curious about because I feel like almost everybody has some version of this.
Yeah.
And I think men have it more than ever because of kind of the way that culture's going. And, I know like a lot of guys who say shit that I've only ever heard from women. And I think that's, their bodies being examined and there are more men's magazines and all that shit. But so first of all, I find you to be so kind of delightfully no bullshit that I just find it really interesting that you're carrying this stuff around. And I wonder if you look at it and you go like, oh, this is silly, or if it's just so kind of a part of how you've always seen yourself that it's hard to kind of divorce yourself from these feelings that are like kind of meaningless and not
Well, I know,
helpful.
obviously, the intellectual part of me knows that it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
The non-intellectual, emotional, there's got to be some insecurity, I suppose, with everyone. So for me, I've had eating issues since I was a teenager, because I was a little chunky, and then when I would diet all the time, and then I was like anorexia nervosa, which means I would exercise all the time. I would weigh myself like 50 times a day.
Yeah.
This was like early 20s. Then I would go through periods where I would stop cold turkey weighing myself, and then finally I'd let like 3 months go by and I'd gained, 7 or 8 pounds and fucking lose it.
Yeah.
Then I took water pills for 15 years.
Oh my God.
And that fucks you up.
Yeah.
Then, there was a period where I was bulimic when I was like from 15 to 20. I've never spoken about any of this, so this is a good topic, actually. No one's ever asked me, probably because everybody thinks that I'm fucking
You totally have your
self-confident.
shit
They're like,
together.
oh, God, you must not have any issues. So I'm glad we're exploring this. And then I went through a period of bulimia, which doesn't work also.
Doesn't
because
work and is so punishing
it's so
on your
bad
body.
for your body. And I've abused my body in so many ways, like physically, from just depriving myself, starving myself, and then I went to a nutritionist when I was 27, and he taught me how to behave,
Right, like how to be a
and
human
how
being.
to eat every
Yeah.
3 to 4 hours and weigh my food, even though it was really diligent. I needed that structure to.
Also, you probably also were applying that kind of diligence to all of your destructive behaviors, right? So it was good to put them into something good. Right,
Well,
like
what
that
do
was
you mean?
obsessive. Well, like the obsessive weighing and then constantly fixating on food. At least if you're weighing your food and you're thinking about how to eat healthy, that energy's going into something.
Yes. So yes, exactly. Sorry.
Right.
I wasn't tracking what you said, but yeah, I would you had to go online and enter your food. You had to eat every 3 to 4 hours. I had to cook my own food, which, I didn't know how to cook. So that was a good thing for me to be doing and occupying myself. And then so he got me healthy, and he got me off of water pills, which was
Oh
the
my
main thing.
God.
The first week I lost 2% body fat, but I gained 7 pounds. And for me, it was so associated with a number.
Right,
all I
right.
wanted was I was like, wait, but I weigh 137 now. I can't weigh 137. I have to weigh 130. I have to. I'm only
Right.
5'7" or 5'6" or whatever. And then he just really was kind of a lifesaver, because I looked better than I ever looked, and I just leaned out within 2 weeks, so that the number did not matter.
Right,
It was just
right.
I don't have cellulite
This
anymore.
meaningless fucking number,
People
yeah.
say you can't get rid of cellulite. That's a fallacy. You can get rid of cellulite. You just have to fucking really be an angel about your diet. So I did that for about a year, and I was able to maintain it. And then, I started traveling, I think probably on my first book tour, and I went overseas, and then it's impossible.
It's impossible.
But I was, I picked up that. So anytime I was doing a magazine cover or something, or a photo shoot where I was in, whatever, bathing suit or something like that, which I try not to do, I would go on that program and really dial it in. I've never been able to get where I was like for those couple of years, but I mean, I'm much more knowledgeable about it now. I still have a lot of weaknesses. I still am like, I don't love my body. I don't love it. When I feel good, or when I'm a certain, weight or like body fat or whatever it is, I feel so much better. But it's really hard for me to maintain that because I just don't want to go a month without having a cocktail. I just am not interested. And so, somebody said to me once, they're like, there's no shortcuts. There are no shortcuts. There's always a rebound. Like if you take a water pill, there's a rebound. You're going to gain water weight until you get it out.
Right.
I went to a spa in Austria this year when I had time off last year before I started working for 2 weeks. And because I would go off water pills for 6 months, gain 8 pounds and just struggle with it the whole time. Then I'd go back on water pills. And I have this very fucked up relationship with that. So it's been, that's been my one thing that's, really kind of occupies my brain way more than it's healthy.
Right.
The only thing that I've really accomplished is I used to talk about it all the time. Now it's more about me keeping it to myself because there's nothing more boring than a girl
who's obsessed.
Talking about her body.
First of all, you're right. Like it's so, that girl that's like, oh my God, I hate too much.
And then I was around a girl like that. I did a lot of traveling and I was around a girl like that who talked about, and she wasn't fat and I know I'm not fat. You know what I mean? Like she talked about she did the thing that I was doing and I heard it coming from someone else and I was like, oh, that's what I sound like. Every time I ate, I'm so fat. I don't like this. I ate too much. Oh shit, why did I eat that? I can't eat that. It's like, just keep that shit to yourself. Fucking figure it out and keep it to yourself. Yeah. So I've come a long way in the last couple of years, but I'm still not where I want to be as far as mentally healthy about it.
Right. And the thing that I didn't have exactly the same path, but I flirted with every single kind of self-destructive, I've probably done all of those things. I never did the water pills thing, but, and I just wasn't, for some reason, bulimia was just too difficult. Do you know what I mean? I think I tried to throw up a couple times. I was like, this is hard. It's too much work. But, the number of times I went on Master Cleanse in my 20s, I was just always on fucking Master Cleanse.
Yeah, and that's a fuck up too.
It's ridiculous, starving, living on sugar, calories, ridiculousness.
Like thinking that's going to make a real difference.
Yeah, no.
In the long run.
Yeah, and you lose weight really fast right away, and then you eat and then it all comes back on, and you wonder what happened. Why did I waste a month of my life being an asshole when I could have just been a person this whole time, living and, but I think I'm really marveled about when I stopped wanting to be that person was how much mental energy I had been expending thinking about this shit. And I was like, I could have literally cured cancer with all of the mental energy I spent,
that's an
obsessive. Well, no, I'm not not even close. Not even close. I could have knitted a sweater with all of the energy, like
for a
vest.
Cancer patient.
Yes, just a vest though, and no sleeves. With all of that fucking energy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that just constant obsession about shit that's not important.
Yeah, and it's so, first of all, it's so deleterious, like the effect it has on you, the effect like when you're thinking about things like that all day. Like if you're bulimic, all you're thinking about is how do I get rid of this food? And then where do I get more food that I can binge and purge? Like, where do I get more food? And then you can't focus on anyone else. You're not available. You're irritable. And it's like everything, it's everything. So it takes over your life and it makes you just feel like shit.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, always.
And then also,
and your brain isn't working well.
No,
because you're depleting yourself of everything.
Of nutrients
and you don't lose weight.
Of joy, and you don't lose weight. Yeah,
no,
exactly.
You just get to pig out for a night, and then the next day you're fucking starving because you haven't eaten anything, and then you overdo it, and that's the rebound.
Right.
So
and
my friend who said to me a few years ago, she said, there are no shortcuts. It's sleep, it's exercise, and it's healthy. Like you have to be healthy. She's like, any shortcut has a repercussion, and it's so true.
Yeah, and also I found that pattern joyless. Like I was talking to somebody the other day about eating French fries, and I was like, well, if I decide to eat French fries, I'm fucking eating the fries, and I'm not going to editorialize. Yes. I'm like, fuck, I love French fries. They're so fucking delightful. I'm so happy when I'm eating them. I'm not going to do the thing where I'm undermining the joy of this moment with a bunch of bullshit. And she was like, I've never been able to eat French fries without completely eroding every enjoyable moment about it because I'm I'm a bad person and I'm and it's fuck living your life that way where you're never actually just having a joyful experience of any kind.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly
Yeah.
right. It's like now if I go on vacation, I know that I'm going to gain 10 pounds on vacation. That's just par for the course with me. Like I'm going to gain it. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not
Yeah.
going to say I can't be in my bathing suit. I'm going to be with my bathing suit, like in my bathing suit with my cellulite, and my friends aren't going to love me any less.
Yeah,
because I
exactly.
put on 10 pounds during vacation. I'll get it off like I always do.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to have to accept that.
Right.
Before it was like, I'd be like looking at my body the whole time, trying to get reassurance that I don't. Do I look fat? Who the fuck's going to tell you look fat on vacation? Who the fuck is going to say that? Do I look fat? Do I look fat? Is this okay? Like, look at my legs. I can't believe this. Those kinds of girls drive me up a wall.
Yeah.
So once I was mirrored by myself with another person, I thought, oh God, first of all, I have to get this girl out of my life. And then I have to get myself out of my life.
Right, right.
So I'm not like, the way I'm speaking is like I've figured it out. I have not, but it's definitely been a major struggle.
Yeah.
And no one's ever even asked me about an eating disorder because I guess people assume that I wouldn't have had one because I'm so harsh, but I did. Yeah, of course I have.
Well, I mean, I'm going to put harshness in quotes because I don't find you to be harsh, but I do find you to be direct. And your persona is so no nonsense, to coin a phrase from 1947, that I could see how people would think that you wouldn't, because you wouldn't tolerate that behavior in someone else, you wouldn't tolerate it in yourself.
Right, that's right.
You
That's
know?
a great way to say it. Yeah, and unfortunately I was. I was
Yeah.
like, oh God.
Oh, God, it's such a waste of time.
Yeah, it is a waste of time. It's really just the biggest weakness I think I have, definitely. And I hate it. And the thing is, when you can get something out of your life that has a negative impact on you, you're so powerful. So like when I was able to get rid of the smoking, like when I went on that nutritional plan with this guy, Mark McDonald, who's still a friend of mine, now he lives in Atlanta. So like anytime he's come and lived in my house for 2 weeks when I had to get ready for a photo shoot and gotten me on the program. You just feel so powerful when you can control the things that you have weaknesses about.
Yeah.
So for me, smoking and quitting smoking, even though, it hasn't been that long, but it's been long enough that I know it's done.
Yeah,
I'm done.
yeah.
That I just feel like, oh, I am a powerful person. I
Yes.
can take care of that.
Yes.
I just needed to really fucking want to.
Yeah, God. And also what that does to you is, I mean, not to be like Tony Robbins, but like what that does
Just watched
for...
that documentary.
Oh, is it good?
Have you seen it?
His face upsets me.
Yeah, it's a challenging face.
It's a
hard
really,
to look
it's
at.
hard, he's hard to look
He's got
at.
a big mouth and a big body.
It seems like his whole face was like constructed from other parts from other animals.
It's like that cartoon, is it not Finding Nemo? It's the other one with, I forget, Toy Story. You know where they have
Yeah.
a big guy
Yeah.
who's like shaped like a square? Like his head's a square? That's what he
SpongeBob
reminds me of.
SquarePants.
Maybe that's him.
He looks a little bit like the cowboy from Toy Story 2. But I wonder if you've had this especially when you were in the throes of whatever kind of phase of your eating disorder that you were in, or with your body dysmorphia, that you feel, and now I sound like I'm in an AA meeting, but powerless, like literally, like I'm never going to
Get over it?
get over it. I'm never going to, and this is the other side of it, never have the body that I want. Like I'm just being affected by life, and I'm tolerating all of this, and I can't ever get my hands around it. Like I'm never going to be where I want to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
well, like physically, but like that. Because on the one side, there's this kind of that's an unattainable position. Like you're desiring something that's not available to you because it's not available to anybody because it's not real for anyone. So you can't get there because there doesn't exist. But then separately, this kind of thing, this feeling of being buffeted about by your illness, where like, okay, I have moments of clarity, but I can't surmount this crazy set of thoughts that keeps rolling around in my head that destroy my joy and make me not be able to enjoy sex or not be able to enjoy a day at the beach or not be able to enjoy a meal. That when you were able to stop smoking, maybe it also presented the possibility to you that you could also get rid of all those other like really destructive thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working on this for many years, so there's been different phases. And I would just say that, like, I've never thought I won't take care of it. I've always put it off. I've always said, oh, I'll deal with that. I'll stop doing it. Like, I remember my 30th birthday. I was like, I'm never going to vomit again. I'm never going to throw up again. And I don't think I did for like 7 years.
Okay, wow.
So then... I quit smoking when I was 27 on Halloween. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not smoking because I was smoking with my friends and I quit that and I didn't smoke for 5 years, 4 years. But things creep up, when you get cocky or arrogant about them. And bulimia is something that's much more in the past than just my general body dysmorphia and displeasure with myself. Like my idea is like I can eat really healthy and I work out like a lunatic because I do enjoy that and I like the way that it makes me feel. But after the fact, I'm like an angel for 3 days and then all of a sudden I'm like, I need a brownie. I need a,
my God.
I already see results. Look at this. I'm leaning out.
Yeah.
So it's just that bad cycle that I have to break. So that's always been my struggle. I don't do those harmful things to myself like I used to, but it's still an issue. It's not gone.
Right.
I just know, like, if I go off, there are consequences now.
Right,
and
right.
I can't solve that by vomiting. Like, that's not an option.
Right.
As
There's
a 41-year-old
shortcut.
woman is not going to be in a toilet.
No, it's not cute.
No.
It's not sexy.
No.
Yeah. And it just, again, it's not just like the few moments you're in the toilet and then it's over and you're back to, like, it infuses everything. I mean, it's just, there's no escaping it.
Right.
I was just thinking about this because I had a day where like I didn't eat all day and then it was really bingy. And I finally am at the point where like that was interesting and not upsetting. I was like, man, I went apeshit fucking bananas yesterday.
But that's what happens when you don't eat all day.
Yeah, but it wasn't like I'm a bad person,
Right.
and you're just trying to get to the point where you're allowing yourself to be human.
Yeah. And that happens also with age. Like, when I was younger, as if like, vomiting or taking a water pill or something is going to give you the body you want. It's not.
No, it's not.
It's never going to.
No.
Those are shortcuts.
Yeah.
They have no lasting impact.
Yeah.
So that's my life struggle.
Yeah. I'm enjoying this conversation. I like you. So, not like you asked or care, but I just wanted to say that out loud because I also feel like people talk about that with this kind of like averted eye shame of like, oh, back in the day when I didn't have my shit together, instead of saying like, getting your shit together is like a lifelong process.
And it's not even done yet. I wouldn't even say I have my shit together.
Yeah.
Like I definitely think about food and the impact of it way more than a lot of other people I know. You know?
Right.
And like this girl at work the other day, she goes, "What do you do for food? What do you do?" I go, "You don't want to know anything I do. You don't want to know my thoughts. Don't do anything I do. Go get your fucking advice from somebody else. I'm the last person you want to get like,
I cannot
here,
help
I'm
you.
a powerful woman. Let me show you what I do with my food. No, I'm weighing my food half the time in my fucking office."
How do you find that your age is affecting, because you and I are around the same age. I know I'm older than you.
I don't
I'm
think
older
so.
than
You're
you.
45.
I'm really old.
And
I'm
I'm
older
41,
than you.
so that's
You're
4
young and
years.
beautiful, and my vagina is about to fall out of my body like an old transmission.
Clarifying.
What do you find? Because we were talking about like kind of self-perception and fame and all kinds of other stuff the other day when we were at dinner, and I'm finding that the older I get, well, some of my body issues are increasing just because.
What are your body issues?
Well, I kind of went through a lot of the same stuff that you did. Maybe not to that extreme, but I stopped weighing myself years ago because it was destroying everything that was happy in my life. Like getting on the scale fucked me up for the whole day. If I was up, I was fucking wrecked. If I was down,
Really?
I was happy, but it wasn't like real. You know what I mean? It just was, and it was an obsessive thing where I'd get on, I'd get on the scale, and then get back on it, see if I could get a different result, and then I'd do that thing where every time I go in the bathroom, I'd be looking in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like it's just a bunch of wasted fucking energy. So a while ago, I stopped weighing myself, and I don't do it anymore because the number is never what I want it to be. I'll be really happy with how I look, and then get on the scale, and it won't be the right number,
Okay,
and
yeah.
I'm like, okay, like all of your perceptions are wrong.
Right.
So
I weigh myself every single morning.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
It makes me so sad.
Yeah,
So
I know.
there's that.
So that's something like, that's
Like,
something I
yeah.
still deal with.
Yeah, I can't. One of the best things I ever did for myself was stop weighing myself. And I don't know, maybe I'm fatter than I was back then, but I can't. I can't do it. And then I don't know, like I feel like, okay, so I'm going to mention someone who's like not me or not like me and not like you, but interesting. And I'll mention her by name, although I actually don't remember her name, so whatever. The lady that used to be married to the guy that's married to, God, I can't remember his name, Eddie Cibrian. His ex-wife was like one of those housewives, right?
Brandy Glanville.
Brandy Glanville? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't remember people who
She was at
don't
my
really
house
matter
once
to me.
without me. My brother used to live with me and apparently had her over my house. And that's when I told him to never.
Get Out.
ever. He's never allowed to bring anyone in my house
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
not a fucking housewife.
No. That's just bad for your quan. So I did an episode of Cocktails with Chloe with her, and we don't have to talk about why that happened, but she was. That's not worth discussing.
Chloe's my
I can't
favorite
remember.
out of the
She is the best one, and by like thousands of miles, she's like astronomically better. And I actually really like her as a person, even though everything they represent I think is evil.
Yeah.
But so Brandi Glanville was there, and I will admit that like I have no respect for those shows or those people. I think they represent everything that is like awful about the perceptions of how women behave. I think they're destroying, like they're setting back like women's liberation, like actively eroding all of our advances. But I feel like she's maybe 45. I don't know how old she is. She's in her 40s. And she has this tiny little body, right?
Yeah.
Like tiny.
She's like anorexic.
Yeah. I mean, how she couldn't be anything
Yeah.
but that. I mean, and she was wearing like hot pants where like half of her ass was like coming out of the back of the hot pants. And I'm sure she lives on like Chardonnay spritzers.
Yeah.
You know, like wine with ice cubes in it. Something that I would
Right.
punch somebody for drinking in
Right.
my presence. And I was so fascinated by her up close because I just kind of wondered what her thought patterns are, like how she lives her life and how she sees herself. And like, I would never go out of the house in hot pants. Like I would never allow my ass to be
nor
seen.
should
Like,
you.
yeah. But she has a really nice ass. And I was
Yeah,
like,
but there's a certain point. First of all, I don't even like when young girls do that.
it's very
disgusting.
upsetting. It's very upsetting. And
Gross.
it's
What
really
are you- why
common
do you
right
want people to
now.
Look at your ass.
It seems so, not even like in an old school sexist way. It just seems like a weird vulnerability. Like, why is this what you
Right.
need people to know about you? That you like, that's the part of
Yeah.
you that you need people to see. But she has an amazing body, and I'm never going to have that body. And the older I get, the farther it goes from my reach. And so I just have this general kind of like, I never am going to be someone who falls apart, but I'm also never going to be like a size 2. And my boobs, unless I have them are surgically altered, are just like working their way, like they're down, they're
To South America?
to my vagina. I mean, they're friends, and they're allies, so that's
Okay.
fine. Sharon Osbourne would refer to a breast like that as lacrimose. They're just teardrops and slowly. But anyway, I mean, that's just what bodies do, right? Like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm like, I could be the person who's like, I'm going to go get a boob lift, and I'm going to go get a this lift, and I'm going to go do that stuff. But I don't want to do that stuff. So I'm just trying to make peace with the fact that like the body,
Okay, yeah.
gravity affects the body.
Yeah.
Without being too crazy about
Okay.
it. I don't know. I find that mindset punishing, where you're like, I've got to look like this one unusual psycho who lives on, I don't know, digestive biscuits and
Yeah.
Chardonnay, and she's my age, and so why don't I look like that? But like, I don't look like that because I have an intellectual life, and I want to go
No.
out and eat
Well,
fucking
also,
pasta.
It's like you're not a real person. You're not a real person.
Right.
Don't you want to have fucking fun? I mean, and
Yes.
not drink Chardonnay.
Chardonnay's so fucking
I mean,
awful.
I want to never drink Chardonnay.
I will not drink, and I love to drink. If there's Chardonnay, if that's the option,
No,
I
I
will
won't either. I'm
No.
right there with you. I
No.
will not drink Chardonnay.
Yeah.
And my friend I was with my friend that she goes, you don't know, like real Chardonnay. I'm like, I don't give a shit what real Chardonnay tastes like. I fucking am so sick of hearing about Chardonnay and hearing the
Smelling it.
Buttery Chardonnay is a term I'll never ever listen to again. And if
Yeah.
I hear a person say that, and that's what Brandi Glanville reminds me of, buttery Chardonnay.
That's her porn name.
And that's also real insecurity, you know?
Right.
Like, I'm not opposed to people, like, doing little things, like, to take care of situations
Yeah.
if you want to.
You should
But
make
I'm
yourself feel
opposed
good.
to the act of wearing shorts like that at that age. I think it's gross. I think it's gross for any girl to wear shorts like that, quite
It's
honestly.
needy
I
and-
think it's, I think it's damaged. Like, we're all damaged. We've all been through our shit. Everyone's had a bad childhood.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've never met anyone who's like, yeah, it was fucking solid. Nothing bad happened.
right.
You know
Yeah,
what? So
seriously.
we've all done it. So, we're all doing the best we can. I'm not opposed to like doing a little stuff here and there that makes you feel good about yourself. If that makes a person happy, that's fine. But you have to have an idea of what's not real, and people that age, it can be sexy.
Yeah, it is
look at like
sexy.
someone like Diane Lane or some of these older women that are like age, like Lauren
Helen
Bacall.
Mirren,
Like,
I'm like,
they probably do stuff, but they don't do stuff
Right.
like that.
Well-
Like they probably do a little stuff here and there. Like
Yeah.
they don't get fucking plastic surgery or a facelift, which alters the way you look. Like
Yeah,
anything
forever.
that alters your face forever. No, I mean, I've made mistakes with like getting getting, filler and looking like an asshole. And then I'm like, okay, that's not the way I want to fucking go about this.
Right.
I'm not
exactly.
doing that again.
Well, and I guess, look, I mean, there's a cultural pressure to do that stuff. There's a pressure in this business to do that stuff. I'm not even judgmental about that. There's a mindset of that I maybe not even able to articulate, like that version of body dysmorphia, which is being human isn't interesting enough or good enough. I've got to pursue this weird standard of perfection, which I can't perceive is so inauthentic and so false that it's hard to look me in the face.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm
Right.
sure she's a nice person. I don't know. She's had a struggle. Everybody has. I don't want to eviscerate this woman because she's not here to defend herself.
No.
But she represents a very specific.
Oh, look, I got a bite on my wrist. What do you have in
I
this?
have bed bugs, fleas, and I have Zika. I have a
wish you
Zika
would've told me
farm.
that before I came.
I have a
would've
Zika
put
farm
on
down
some
here.
Bug spray.
That's the Zika. Or
It's
maybe you
probably good
brought
vodka.
the bugs with you. I don't
doubt
know.
it.
You're filthy.
I doubt it. I live in Bel Air.
Where the bugs are all.
There are no bugs
When they
there,
bite you, gold
okay?
comes out of their proboscis or whatever you call this, proboscis.
I don't know what
It's a
that term
That
is.
fell apart at the end. Let's not talk anymore about how much we hate ourselves. Oh, no, there was something about fixating on your stuff because you said you can't wear shorts.
I just think, listen, if I had perfect legs, I would wear shorts. And I find that, inviting, I don't know, there's a part of me that thinks, a lot of girls my age wear shorts and it's fine. I feel like you just want people to look at, I don't know. There's
I get
a part
it,
of me
but
that's a little shy and conservative, I
Yeah,
swear. I mean, I
yeah.
know it sounds weird, but and even though I did naked topless Instagram posts for a year.
Tell me about that. I'm stopping you where you are because I'm
That
so
was
curious
me
about
loving my body.
Right,
That
and
was
you
me
actively
fucking,
taking steps.
I shamed myself not shamed myself. I just hated my boobs for so many years because first of all, they came when I was 12 in the night and one night. And I woke up and I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with these things? And I taped them down with duct tape to school because I didn't want anyone to know I'd gotten my period over the summer because I was only
Wow.
12.
Yeah.
And then throughout my life, there were just people who were like, oh, your boobs are so big. Or I just felt like I had a boyfriend once who really made me feel like shit about it because he's like, your boobs are too big. You should really not keep those. And then
Get the fuck
yeah, and
out
that was
of
in
here.
my 30s. So I was like, listen, when finally I just
What man thinks boobs are too big?
I don't know.
Oh my God,
He must
you're
have been
fired.
gay. But
He's fired. He's fired.
Then I just got to a point where I posted one photo and it was just a joke on Putin and me horseback riding while
Yeah,
I was
I
in
remember it.
Santiago, Chile, and I just thought it was really funny. And the backlash I received was just incentivizing to me to be like, fuck you.
Yeah,
People, are
absolutely.
you going to remove a photo of me topless on a horse when I'm sitting next to a man? Why? Because I have mammary gland?
Yeah.
Because I'm naked?
Yeah.
And that set me off. And then I just was on a rampage. And then I was almost kind of like, fuck, I do have fucking nice tits.
Yeah,
fuck
you do
off.
have nice tits,
so
by the way.
fuck you.
Yeah.
And then I was on a thing. And then I'm over it, obviously, because as with anything that you get kind of, what's the right word? When you feel like you're making a point, you go over the top. And I overdid it, but who cares? I don't give a shit. You know what I mean?
No.
I
Well,
just...
sometimes that's you have to go over.
Then I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
The idea that I would see how long it would take for Instagram to remove it, and then it would live on Twitter. Twitter didn't care. I mean, you can walk up and down the street in San Francisco topless, and it's legal.
Absolutely.
So it just kind of got me on a bunch of social and political levels that I couldn't let go, and then I just wouldn't, and I was like, no way. Are you? And then I was like, I'm never gonna put my. And then finally, I was like, I'm bored with this too. I'm bored with my statements. And then I
Social
moved
change is
on.
hard.
Yeah, but I like the idea of being naked and people's reactions to it. I just think it's really funny. I mean, when I'm with my friends and my family, especially, I'm always running around, in pictures and running around on vacation and talking to my brother and then pulling my boob out and him being like, oh, I mean, to us, it's really funny.
Yeah.
It gets people every time. And so I decided to start sharing that with the world.
But see, and again, it's so interesting because these two kind of mindsets are like on separate parallel tracks and totally in opposition. The idea that you'd be spending a bunch of time judging your body and then at the same time putting it on display. I cannot think of a situation in which I would go outside with my boobs unrestrained. And my boobs did not come in the middle of the night, but I came when I was 6 and they were big and they've always been,
6?
I mean, no, but it felt like that.
God,
Do you know what I mean? They were
must have been really
huge.
fat if you got them at
huge.
6.
It was literally a Veruca sold after she chewed gum.
And so it was part kind of post body shaming because I just realized I do have that's one part of my body that I'm really happy with. I have great boobs. I'm happy with them.
do.
And now everybody knows I have great boobs, so I can put them away.
My point's been made. this is the last thing we're going to do about a body. So this, I've never had this conversation, and I think I'm this
okay.
into it. Because the other thing I do that I'm always really curious about is when I see someone, like, okay, so Katy Perry was on the beach with her boyfriend when he pulled his dick out. Did you see those photos?
Yeah. On the canoe or the paddleboard?
Yeah, on the paddleboard. They were in Italy, and you know, as one does, when everyone around you is fully dressed, you pull out your cock, and then you go and paddle on a board.
Right.
That's what everybody does. You pull out your dick.
Yeah.
And
you did.
Get in
When
it.
we were
I
in
did.
Vegas,
Well, yeah, I
you pulled
did
your dick out
several
and
times.
made me tattoo it.
Trying to get somebody to touch it. It's like, why is this so difficult? Confusing maybe, but the tattoo's really beautiful. So I remember looking at Katy Perry's body, and she's got like kind of just this normal lady body, right?
Yeah.
She's not like super skinny.
Yeah.
She's like round. She's got
Right.
big
Yeah,
boobs.
yeah.
She's like a normal lady body.
Yeah.
And okay, this is so, I don't even know how to say this without sounding like a fucking idiot. But I look at people who have a body like mine, and I marvel. I'm like, how are they so comfortable in that bikini on that beach when I put on a bikini and then I put on a dress over it to go to the beach, and then the dress just stays on, and I drank under an umbrella, and I go back into my hotel room. It's very rare that I like.
Really?
Because yeah, that's we were asking me like, what's your issue? That's the issue.
Well, that's an issue.
That is an issue. It's a major issue. I'm very uncomfortable, like in a bathing suit, and I kind of put it on for decoration, then I actually never use it.
Yeah, I've done that. I've definitely done that.
Yeah, but then I see other people with like the same body or something that I might deem as like, okay, she's way less fit than me, and she's just having a fucking good time, like. And I guess that's the place I want to get to, is like the unfettered enjoyment of life.
That's where I want to get
Yeah,
to.
without being like
Absolutely.
self-examining.
That's what I'm, that's exactly the thing that I'm working on. Like, who gives a shit? Like, are people going to love you any less? You're going to get photographed. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get photographed. So I try to avoid places where that will happen.
Yeah.
I don't want to be parading around and getting photographed ever, period.
Right.
That's not my modus operandi.
Yes.
So some people don't have a problem with that. And some people just are fine if they do get photographed and they don't give a shit.
Or they're dying to be photographed.
There's a much better lifestyle to be led by doing what they did without giving a shit, rather than being one of those celebrities who stays indoors all the time because you're worried that you will get photographed.
Right.
And what's the fucking point of going anywhere if that's what you're thinking?
But also, so we were so we in the interest of full disclosure, like we were having dinner the other night, and we were talking about the specific thing about like that, like the idea of fame and like what your relationship is with fame and how you feel about it, and I feel like the people that are photographed all the time almost always are courting it on some level. They want it. They're engaged with it. Orlando Bloom's dick was out for a reason. He knew he was going to get photographed. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a magical long lens where they cut. No, he was like, they're photographers there, and I'm going to pull my dick out. Yeah, and like I remember, and I think we talked about this the other night, like specifically driving down Little Santa Monica, it's a few years ago, but when she was never relevant, but when people knew who she was. And Paris Hilton was walking down the street, and there was like a group of paps behind her, and she ran and then stopped and waited so that they could catch up, and then she ran again. And I think anytime you see people photographed,
on foot?
Like on her little tiny Barbie feet that are perpetually on tippy toe. And I feel like almost everybody who is photographed because they want to.
Most people. But there are people that are, well, I think you're also, by trying to avoid it, you're also courting it. Like everyone, like people can make their whole lives about the paparazzi. I'm so famous. But like the reality of the situation is, yeah, you might be really famous, and especially internationally. If you're internationally
like
famous,
if you're Clooney or Pitt or
but
some
then
shit.
you just know where to go, where you don't get, you know what I mean?
Right.
There are places all over the world where nobody's going to fucking find you.
Exactly.
So
look at like Matt Damon. When's the last time you saw a fucking shot of Matt Damon?
Right, exactly. But that's the thing. It's like if you're walking through the street like J-Lo with 18 bodyguards, obviously you're going to draw attention to yourself. If you're walking through do you see pictures of Mick Jagger in paparazzi photos of him? He's the most famous, like one of the most famous people in the world.
Yeah. And also, you're not going to mistake him for somebody else. It's not like he's going to go by, like, I wonder who that was.
B. Arthur, maybe. But
that's a tiny, wizened woman of some kind, of unknown ethnicity.
But you also can't lock yourself up inside your house. Or spend all of your time. Because at a certain point, if they're going to get the picture, then they're going to get the fucking picture.
Right,
so
exactly.
get on with your day. Go
live your life.
Don't you want to travel? Don't you want to see the world? Like, I know you do, but isn't that the whole point of life?
Yeah.
And maybe that's not for everybody, but like, I don't want to go to a place and sit in a hotel room for 5 days.
Yeah, and not be a fucking
beach,
person.
Get in the water. I want to dive off a boat. I want to, go parasailing. I want to do whatever the fuck you do when you get to the place you're supposed to go.
Whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing. Yeah.
So I think it's a good statement to make, to not give a shit. So what you're saying is like kind of coincides with like you're willing to go on the beach, but you're not willing to walk around naked in your bathing suit. like, or without a strong, or you know,
Mm-hmm.
go. And I understand that. I've done that before too. I get it, and I
I'm
want
gonna get a bathing suit with a
Yeah.
skirt on it. That's the next step. The next step is I get a bathing suit that has a skirt.
Yeah, that's
and
the
then it's
last
the
step.
end.
I
That is
think.
the
I mean,
end.
that is not a
I'm
next
a
step.
foot in the grave
Yeah.
at that point. You.
Well, after we're done here, you can get naked, and I'll just assess your body and
Okay,
tell you
yeah.
how silly
I'll
you're
tell
being.
you. I'll tell you what's wrong
Yeah.
with it. There's so many things wrong with it. We were in San Francisco and we met, and I was so delighted because I came to see you, and it was just you and your sister, and that's how I live my life. I just go places without any people around me, and most of the time you can get in and get out without anybody fucking
Who did
figuring
you
out what
think was
happened.
going to be there?
I don't know. I have no idea. We have interacted, like the last time we were together, other than your show, was
Vegas.
in Vegas, where there were a million people around all of us.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think I assumed you were going to have an entourage, but I don't ever know how people move through the
Right,
world.
of
You know what I mean?
course,
Like, are they
yeah.
going to be anxious about strangers? Are
Yeah.
you're not in a city where you don't know anybody? Are you going to bring people
Yeah.
to give you a little buffer space?
Right.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, fuck yeah. We walked in the bar and you were there and we drank and it was like the best. And nobody fucking, well, one person bothered us. And she was a delight.
She ordered us shots and then fell down promptly
Guys.
after. First of all, we thought she worked there.
She was. I told her story like to every person that would listen for like the next 2 days because this girl comes.
I don't even remember, by the way. I was so shit-faced. All I remember
Yeah,
is somebody
we're also
buying
drunk.
us, and then
And
my
you-
sister told me the next morning. I was like, oh, did she fall down? She goes, yes, and then I remembered.
You literally could not give her like any less energy. Like you,
She was so
you
wasted.
She was so drunk, and you literally swivel. Like if you were an owl, your head turned all the way to the back. Like you could not look away from her any harder. But she was sweet enough, and she just wanted to buy us a shot. And she was. I mean, I don't know her, so no one. I'm talking about a woman no one knows, so I can tell you all
Yeah,
about her.
yeah.
She said she was a bartender at this bar that we were in, which was clearly a lie because she was fucking destroyed,
Yeah.
and she was wearing a dress that she bought like she pulled out the remnants bin at Forever 21. So
Explaining about the drink we were having that she ostensibly made, like, which was all a lie.
all of it was a lie. And she was talking about drinking Fernet Branca, which is this kind of famous thing in San Francisco. They call it a bartender's handshake. Like if you go into a bar and you order it, you're identifying yourself as a bartender. But she didn't call it a bartender's handshake. She's like, it's a thing people drink. I was like, no, all of these are lies. These are something you read online. You're a liar and you're lying. That we all did the shot. You did not. You were really not participating in
No,
this
I
moment
don't. I
in any
can't
way.
do shots. I'm just like, I can't.
You were like so
I was
done.
too drunk already.
It was the
like, I
best.
don't
You
need
had
vomiting.
You
in
had all
public.
of your vodkas. I was really impressed with you. And then she walked away, and she got her heel maybe caught like in your stool, and she pulled a no points contact fall, like no hand to break the impact. Just she went down like stiff armed head, like ass head. It was so great. And I said, this is embarrassing and you're dying right now, but you're drunk enough that you won't feel the sting of this humiliation in the morning. You're just going to have the best fucking story. If you're smart enough, you have a story you can dine out
You
on.
should have typed it into her phone so she knew.
I
what
should
had
have done.
happened.
I
And,
should have
like,
asked her,
just in case
what's
you
your-
are completely blacked out right now.
Exactly.
This is
what happened. I should connect with her on Tinder and be like, okay, because I know she's on there, or Bumble. She's alone. I'm pretty confident she's alone. It was great, but like other than that, nobody. Like it's a false construct. It's not a totally false construct, but it is a false
Well,
construct.
there are a lot. I'm friends with a lot of people that are famous.
You
and-
have a lot of famous friends. You're very important, and your friends are very famous.
Well, and I know the difference. There's a difference. There are the people that can go to a bar and hang out. There are people that can walk down the street and go to a bar. Charlize is one of those people.
She can.
You can go meet her for lunch, and she parks on the street on Fairfax, and you walk in, and it's her mom and 4 of her friends, and
Yes.
she's got a posse that she is close with. Not that she's always with. I go out with her alone. The other night, I went to dinner with her alone, and it was just the 2 of us. But Charlize is like that. She's not worried about
And she's a
paparazzi.
massive
And
fucking
she's a
star.
huge star. So like, there are paparazzi outside of her house. Plenty of times I've gone there. She doesn't live her life like that.
right. And it's
And there's no argument. She's one of the biggest movie stars
in the world. In the
So
world. And not only is she a massive movie star, but she's so delightful to look at that if I was a photographer, I would camp like underneath her bedroom window so that I could take pictures. You know what I mean? Like she's like somebody you want to take pictures of.
Like
But-
I was at this resort or somewhere a few months ago with a girlfriend of mine who's very famous, and I can't say her name because she's a close friend. But
Hillary
anyway,
Clinton.
yes, it was Hillary and Chelsea. And we were at lunch and we were having a salad and we just got into this place and And we were like, and she's like, I'm just sorry. She was telling me a story, and she's like, I just think this woman's like listening to us. And I looked at her and I went, who gives a shit if she's listening to us? What is she going to do? Call the New York Post and say so-and-so and Chelsea Handler were sitting here talking about their lives? We're not saying
Julia
anything
Roberts.
of import.
I'm just going to sit here guessing.
Like, we're
Viola
not.
Davis.
Viola Davis. Yeah, she's not
I
our
need you and Viola Davis to be having a
But I was
salad at a
like, I
resort.
just looked at my friend and I was like, I was going to say something to her there and then I didn't. And then I was like, no, that's her fucking story. That's
Yeah.
her shtick.
Right.
She's paranoid. And, you know, everyone has their own thing. We all get photographed when we don't want to.
Right,
We all
always,
get
yeah.
photographed with men when we don't want to get photographed with men. There's no stories about everybody in the press. Some
Yeah.
people are more famous than other people.
Right.
Some people are international stars. But, you know, it's definitely like I always make a check, like, are you going to be cool? You know, but then conversely, this is also a person I've traveled with all like around the world,
Right.
and she's cool. She'll
Yeah.
walk down the street in Barcelona with me, and she doesn't care.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, there's a level of like. I appreciate that because all I care about is really anybody who likes to travel. That's
Yeah.
really like my one
God, that's
criteria.
all I want. It's literally like all I care
It's
about
like,
in my
are
life.
you going to meet me in Spain? Are you
Yeah.
cool enough to meet me in Spain? And I don't have to worry about my house having like an open air terrace that somebody might see you.
Right,
Is
right,
this going to be a
exactly.
situation? Because I don't want you at my fucking house if you're going to behave that
Right,
way.
if you're this person,
Yeah.
exactly. If you got to like manage because it is like so. I'm reading a greeting card, but like this is just such a fucking limited existence. Like if you're going around
Yeah.
thinking I've got to curate everything I do because I'm worried that somebody might see me doing it, when all you're doing is the same fucking shit everybody else is doing, which is like eating and fucking and farting and like leaving the house looking like shit in
And
the morning, like
also-
every other fucking person in the world.
And also, if you're going to be that diligent about it, then don't. Like, there are certain people who are just sloppy in their personal lives, and they're friends with the wrong people that
Mm-hmm. Right.
are biggest gossips, and that are the types of people that will call
And
a
they're
magazine.
needy. They're needy,
Yeah,
and they need people
yes,
around them, and they're bad judges of
exactly.
character.
Bad judges of character, and they're like, it's a very insular experience, and they want everybody, you know. And there are people there when you're that kind of person. There are more like untrustworthy people around you, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I
So-
marvel at that, honestly. Like the Chris Brown story was so interesting to me because I feel like he's such a lonely guy and yet he's surrounding himself by, like, why are there strange people in your house? Why is there someone in your house
Right.
who could then go tell a story about you,
Exactly.
which may or may not be true apparently because this person seems like they're unreliable. This lady who said he held a gun to her head, although he's also a pretty erratic guy. But like, why are you creating a situation in which
Right.
some fucking nut you don't know is going to go call the
Yeah,
cops?
right.
Like, why are they in your house? What the fuck are you doing?
Exactly.
And I always, again, I think there's like a set of judgment issues there where it's like, don't go to.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I don't think you can take yourself that seriously. It's
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
oh my God, come on.
I know.
Just stop it. Like, you just have to, I think, I don't know the answer. I just know the way I want to live and the way that I want my brothers and sisters to like perceive me. I'm more concerned about the way they think of me than I really
Yeah,
am about anybody
yeah,
else.
exactly.
Because the last thing I need is for them to be like, oh, fucking, she's lost it. You know, they already think I'm ridiculous. So I don't need that
Well,
on
you
top
are.
of
You are
everything.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, I am.
Yeah.
But I've been ridiculous since I was 2. So, I mean, they're used to that.
Yeah.
But I can't behave badly around them.
Right. How does your family feel about, like, so you have how many brothers and sisters do you
5.
have? Oh my God. Are you Catholics?
No, Jewish.
Oh, okay.
My mom was Mormon, but I'm the youngest of 6.
Wait, your mom was Mormon?
Yeah, my dad was Jewish. We were all raised Jewish. My mom lied about being Mormon for the first 10 years of our lives. Then my oldest brother died when I was 10. He
Oh
was
my
22.
gosh.
And my mom like went back to religion after that because my mom and dad met. She was in Germany. He was here. And they met, like she was on a summer vacation visiting her uncle. And they fell in love. And she flew back she took a boat back from Germany and they married. They eloped. She didn't tell her family for like 2 years. And then she had a baby, my brothers. She had 3 boys and she had 3 girls. And then my mom married my dad when she came back and she was German and he was Jewish, so it was kind of a sensitive issue. a
little bit of like early, it must have been really
yeah, my
sexy in the
dad's
beginning.
like,
though.
don't bring up the fact that you're Mormon. I'm Jewish. I'm going to win this war. You've enough to be fucking rueful about. And so I didn't know my mom wasn't Jewish for a long time. And then when my brother died, my mom became really like a zealot. She needed something to like
Right.
comfort her. And then she became Mormon, and then one of my sisters, who you haven't met, became Mormon, and so they were Mormon, and then we were all bat mitzvah and bar mitzvah. So we were
so
raised
like you were
Jewish.
it's
like the only
religiously Jewish, culturally
religion
Jewish.
I have any identity with.
Right.
I mean, I don't practice Judaism to this day, but if like I had to declare something, I would say I'm Jewish.
Right. Well, I think even more than maybe some other religions, although Mormonism, I don't know anything about in terms of its cultural
Don't
effect.
worry, you're not missing anything.
I read Under the Banner of Heaven. That was enough. By the way, have
I'm
you
going
read
to
that?
need
It's
to
so
get
funny.
more ice.
Oh,
Is
would you
it
like a
there?
fresh drink?
No. I'd just like to add ice. No. Don't stop it. You can listen to me do it.
Okay, good. Go get ice while I ramble on. It's in the freezer in the magical box. What? Yes, I don't know. I mean, it's new. I'm trying a new thing where I keep ice in the freezer. So, but I was going to say more than any other religion, I think that Judaism really feels both like a cultural thing and,
Yeah.
it's.
I'm proud to be Jewish. Like, I think I dig it. I think I dig it probably because of the, industry that we're in, that it's like was an advantage, obviously, or you feel like you're one of them, but nobody ever believes I'm Jewish. So like, you're not a Jew. I'm like, yeah, I am. And then I have to be like, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kadashanu. But, and people will argue that I'm not a full Jew because my mom's not a Jew. And that's
Right, and then I
really-
think it
but
comes
that's
through the
bullshit.
mom, and yeah. But
I'm
then
like,
also, like, you choose that for yourself. Like, that's your fucking choice. Like, why are you telling me how to live my life?
I think religion, like I simultaneously think religion is the base of all evil. And also I'm interested in religion. I'm interested in tradition. I like that because I'm so not traditional in many
Yes.
ways that I really like. I have a friend who is modern Orthodox Jew, and she has Shabbat dinners at her house, and I've gone over to her house a couple times because I love that. I love the tradition of it.
Yeah.
I just like seeing families. I like seeing modern people that are religious. I think like a modern spin on anything is always healthy.
Modern orthodoxy is mysterious to me, though, especially when
Yeah.
women are orthodox.
You can't appear. You
in
can have
the
sex
West.
like for 2 weeks out of the month. Like you're,
Like, there's
and they-
already enough barriers to having sex without you
Yeah.
like adding more.
Yeah, I'm not interested in religion, and I don't think I would ever date anybody that was religious.
Right.
But I
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It governs so many people's lives.
Right.
And I have a couple of girlfriends who are, I think, brilliant, like really intelligent people. And I'm not saying the people who are religious aren't smart. I'm saying like these are just like really thoughtful, inquisitive, modern, wildly intelligent people who I go to for
Right.
advice on a constant basis.
Yeah.
One of them is a minister, and one of them is like a Reform Jew. You know what I mean? Whatever. Look at this table.
I
It's
need
made
a
out of
coaster?
railroad
Let me
ties.
get that
No,
little towel.
it's a towel. Yeah, there we go. And I
Alicia
always.
doesn't have coasters. Oh, by the way,
No.
my sister thought you were Alicia Keys.
She did. She thought it was Alicia Keys. She was very, I look just like her. And
So I didn't even correct her for the first hour because it made me laugh so much.
that it's so
Because
great.
she said Alicia Keys, and then my cousin had come up the next morning after we had drinks. She said, "What did you do last night?" And we're like, "We went out with Alicia." She goes, "We went out with Alicia Keys and her boyfriend." I was like, and Molly picked it up right away. She's like, "You mean Aisha Tyler?" Like, I think Chelsea's friends with Aisha.
It would be interesting if she was friends with Alicia Keys, but that doesn't feel right. But like, I'm always interested in people who are trying to navigate this world right now with like all we know about science and stuff, and how religion has kind of like kept women oppressed, and they're still like fully engaged in religion. I have a problem with it. I mean, I'm not like anti-religious.
Do you
but
believe
I
in
just,
God?
No, I think if I were pressed, I'm an atheist. You know what I mean? Like if you push me,
Yeah.
I'm an atheist.
I mean, I think God is a little silly idea that is a little bit like,
People need to feel like someone's in control, because otherwise they all have like vertigo, right?
Yes.
Like we're all falling, because
Right.
like what does it all mean? And it's easy when the world seems terrible to say, well, there's a plan. But the converse of it is, and someone just said this recently, it was some British actor. I can't remember his name because I can't remember anything.
must have been Hugh Grant. There's only one.
There's
British
only
actor.
one. Well, him and Tom Hardy. Meow.
Yeah, well,
and
yeah, he's a
crazy one.
psychotic
Yes,
British
but like
actor.
he's a
There's
crazy.
one is psychotic and one regular. British
Exactly, those two.
One is a much better actor.
Yeah, and also crazy. But seems like he'd be fun in bed, like
I
crazy
would
people always do.
That's exactly right. He seems
Right?
like he would
Like,
fuck
he'd
the shit out of you.
guts, like, wreck
and
you.
then fucking put a knife to your
Just somehow you have to sneak away, like right when it's over, like flush the condom and then jump off the balcony. But because it's hotel sex, obviously. But he was like essentially like, why would you believe in a God that like gives babies cancer and like lets women get raped systematically in parts of the world where there's war? And that's up to me. That's like the fundamental argument against like the idea that there's a person on a chair in the sky.
Do you believe in like what do you believe? Do you believe in like karma or energy or any of that stuff or souls? You don't believe in souls?
So I the closest I can get to that is the idea that there's like a finite amount of matter and we're all connected, right? That like, and that like what makes us go is electricity, is energy, you know what I mean? That there's some ephemera, there's an ephemeral nature to like human life. And I'm a skeptic, which means I'm not a non-believer. It just means things need to be proven
Yeah,
to
that's
me. I need
exactly
to
right.
experience
That's a good
them.
way to put it. I would say that I'm a skeptic too.
Yeah, I need to see it. I need
My
to
brother
understand
says
it.
to me all the time that it's like hedonistic. He goes, I go, why do people have children? And he goes, because people want to see a reflection of themselves, Chelsea.
It's very egotistical to have a child.
Hedonism. What do you mean? What do you mean? Why are you asking me silly questions? And I go, but what about the leaves? Look at the leaves changing. Look how beautiful that is in fall. Like, look at Central Park. He goes, and then they die and they fall off and there's bare trees.
He's
Chelsea,
dead inside. I like him.
It's
That's
evolution.
fun.
He's a total existentialist. Like, he's completely convinced. He's like, it is absurd. We are a bunch of ants marching on a planet that we were ruining.
Yeah.
And we were all going, this is just a phase. This is an era. And we're going to be here for a while. And then we're all going to be gone. And then something else will be here.
See, that could be depressing, or it could also be hopeful. I mean, like essentially, there's a part of that. But maybe if you stipulate to the fact that like this is all you have, this is all we understand, this is all we can possibly know. We can make stories up about what happens later.
Yeah.
We can concept and dream and fabulate and fantasize, but we don't fucking know.
Right.
We don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Well, then be here now and try to spread as much kindness as you can, because all we have is this kind of ephemeral temporal joy, right? I only have this time. I'm going to try to be kind. I'm going to try to do things that help other people do things. I'm going to try not to be a dick. I'm going to try to be nice to myself and other people, right? Like to me, that can be a hopeful choice, because what I don't like is when people are like, I'm being nice so I can go to heaven. That's a bunch of fucking bullshit. You should be nice because being nice is what you should do.
Yeah. Well,
Not because you're worried about a
and that's my
reward.
argument. I'm like, Glenn, there's so much more good than there is evil. He goes, that's just human nature. Like, over time, people have become better at being human beings. That's evolution, Chelsea. That's just what people do. You do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because you think somebody's watching over looking at you.
Right. But that is a good reason to do something good.
Right. And I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all about like, okay, as long as I'm only hurting myself, you know what I mean? Like, I always want to do the right thing. And obviously you don't always get to do the right thing, but as an adult and as you get older, like the options become, what is your point? If we are just a little fucking ant marching and nobody's going to remember anything about us, then don't you want to have an impact on the people that are around you?
That's exactly it. That's beautifully put. That's how I feel. I feel like if even like legacy, like we were talking about this, like I am not going to have kids. I flirted with it briefly. I really honestly feel like, bless is a religious term, but like I'm really happy that I decided not to have children. Every time I look at a child, I'm like, man, I fucking dodged a bullet.
I feel the same way you do.
Oh my God.
Totally. I have no room for it. And it's not that I don't think other people should have them. I just know that I'm not suited for it, and I'm better off the world is a better place if I don't have a child.
You're doing everybody a favor, including that child, apparently.
I feel like I am. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And I feel like the conformity, which it's not always a conformity, but I feel like if you don't feel it in your bones, these women who are a little bit ambivalent about having children and then find themselves pregnant at the age of 40 or 41 and decide to go through with it just because they think it's irresponsible to have a baby at the age of 41,
right,
are doing no one a favor, including that baby that you're about to have. It's so fucked up. It's so selfish, and it's so not thinking. I just think too many people have babies because they think they're supposed to. Too many people get married because that's the way it's supposed to be. Says who?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know how fucking happy I am? Do you know how fucking great my life is when I go back to my house and I have my 2 dogs? I got off the plane yesterday from San Francisco. I know you came back early in the morning.
I did, yeah.
I went to lunch at Zuni in San Francisco with my sister and my cousin. I had 3 margaritas at lunch. I went to the airport. I had a Bloody Mary there. I got home. I was in the car on my way home going, oh my gosh, I'm so fucking happy that I don't have to deal with somebody who wants to know what we're going to do for dinner tonight.
Yeah.
I got in my bed, I started reading the New York Times, and I fucking fell asleep by 7:30. And I was elated about it. I had dreams about my life while I was sleeping. The responsibility, I don't do well. I'm not my best self in relationships. And everyone could say, well, you haven't met the right person. Great. If I meet the right person, then I'm totally willing to go there. But I will not ever settle. I will be picky.
You need somebody who can fully accommodate you, who can literally fold into your shit without resistance
and tell
or
me to
complaint.
shut the fuck up when I need to be told to shut up.
Yeah.
And be like, you're too wasted. Let's get you home.
God, I have I'm having a series of fantasies about who this person is. I love that because I also feel like anybody that would be kind of high level enough for you would not be willing to accommodate you in the way that you need to be accommodated.
And I don't like to be, and also, and maybe this is just like an ephemeral time in my life where I don't have to think about it. Maybe I'll have these 3 years and then maybe I'll have somebody for the next, I always think like, you're probably going to be with somebody. So
well, nobody knows fucking anything about what their life is going to.
Enjoy the time you're not tethered.
Oh my God, all this isolation.
If you're not
and
tethered
time.
to somebody, that means I can go wherever I want, whenever I want.
Do whatever you want. What are we going to have for dinner tonight? Where do you want to go for dinner?
No, I don't want to eat dinner. I told you I have an eating disorder. I just can't eat anything more after 6 o'clock. What the fuck, did you not listen to me? Why do you keep making fucking toast? You know that I don't eat bread. What's wrong with you?
Get out of my house. And stop buying shit that I'm never going to eat, and it's here now, and it's fucking with my head.
And I think if who knows what the future brings. None of us can predict the future, obviously. So I always am very grateful to the time I have, whether I'm in a relationship or out of it. Like if I'm in a relationship, I'm like, let's have as much sex as possible because who knows how long this is going to last. And conversely, if I'm single, I'm like, let's read as much as possible whenever I can. Let's enjoy every single
travel
afternoon.
Have 7-hour dinners.
I want to go on Sunday lunch to brunch with my girlfriends and drink for 3 hours and sit there at a hotel or wherever and drink. And I don't want some guy going, what are we doing? Where are we going? What are we? You've really got to fucking know what's up. We're not going anywhere. This is it.
This was the plan.
So wrap on the day.
And there's something. So like to me, everything you're saying makes so much perfect. Like I'm like it makes so much sense to me. What's funny is I feel like when I was younger, and I'm sure lots of other people out there, and especially women, feel guilty or bad or odd, or feel as if they're being made to feel odd if they just say, I don't want those things for myself. You know what I mean? They're saying, I think a lot of people have kids because they think this is what's expected of me, or what my family wants of me, or what society wants of me. But I even think there's a larger kind of existential, like, am I a woman if I don't have a child?
Yeah.
But by the way, my vagina is like a fucking Chinese finger cuff, and I'd like to keep it that way.
A Chinese finger
When you cannot
cuff?
if you put the dick in, you cannot get it out. I mean, that's how tight it is. Your dick is never coming out. I'm going to keep
Really?
it. Oh, yeah. Nothing's ever, I've never.
So you have to date a bunch of guys. Well, you have to date a bunch of Chinese guys.
Chinese
it sounds
guys.
Like it.
And I only have finger sex. That's
Right.
Exactly.
You can't accommodate anything
Nothing bigger than like
nice
a pinky.
It's nice of you to allow fingers inside of you.
I hope this is as good for you as it is for me, because you're never getting this finger back. But when you are someone like you, okay, who's created this really broad creative wake, what do you need? What do you
I was
need?
just looking for my lip balm. It's okay.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'll find it.
I might get up to make myself another drink.
Oh, well, if you do, get my lip balm. No, just...
Where is it? Do you want your purse? I'm doing it.
All right, pause it. What are you drinking?
A cookie Americano. It's very Italian.
You know
Cookie
a lot about alcohol.
I do.
I'm really impressed. I mean, like, you're like somebody.
Boozer.
Well, you know more about alcohol than any woman I've ever met. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's probably fair. I love to drink. But I also am one of those people, like, I feel like I want to, I'm like a foodie. So like my booze love is also oriented around food, right? Like,
Yeah.
I want it to be an experience.
Yeah,
And all
no,
that
I
stuff.
respect that.
Yeah.
That's what's great about San Francisco.
Oh God, what
fucking
a good
food.
city. Such a good food
I
city.
mean, I was like, my sister was like, I'll come down to LA. I go, no, I'm so bored here. There's nowhere to go, nothing to do. I mean, there are some good restaurants, but it's like, come on, everyone goes to bed at 9.
That's very true. Even in San Francisco, really, if you want to go hard, you got to go to New York or Vegas. I mean,
Yeah,
New York,
is San Francisco an early city too?
Oh, it's a very
'Cause
early
both nights I was
city.
in bed by 2:30, but I suppose that's because it was the weekend.
Last call at that bar we were on Friday night. I think they did last call at like 12:30. We closed it, but they were done
Oh,
serving.
well, my sister and I went home and wrestled for like an hour after
God,
that.
that makes me really happy.
My cousin, my sister, and I both. Well, I was naked, and they were both. I was chasing them naked, and they all were hiding. They were both hiding from me. And
God,
then
your family is really excellent.
And then I finally pinned my cousin's bigger than me, so she's pretty strong, but I got her down, and then somehow we just managed to pass. I left them both in the bed, and I slept in a twin bed alone by myself on Saturday night.
You're a fucking pimp.
Yeah, because I miss my childhood.
Yeah, and then you can relive it because you're a fucking grown up and can do what the fuck you want to do. So what was I talking to you about drinking? And what was it? Oh shit! What were we talking about? We were talking about.
Here, use your little thing for that. 'cause
Oh, thank
I stole
you.
It for you.
Thank you.
From you. But give it back.
I will. It's yours. What were we just talking about? I totally lost my train of thought.
The bunk beds I had installed in my
legacy,
house.
legacy,
Oh.
legacy.
Legacy. Oh, that's a pretty serious
That
word.
if you're a woman like you who's created this kind of really broad like wake, like you know what I
Yeah.
mean, you're in a space that there are no women in. You know what I mean? And you've been continuously successful in this space. And a lot of women have failed in this space. And unfortunately for women, when a guy fails in this space, it's just a guy. And when a woman fails in this space, women can't do talk, can't do late night, can't do whatever. And you've done it, and you've done it on your own terms. And what's thrilling about what you're doing now is that finally you're in a space where you really can do it on your own terms. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and tell you that I fucking hate E and everything they stand for, but we can move on from that.
Okay.
So I'm really happy where you are now, because I feel
Thanks,
like
me
it's
too.
a better place for you. And you're able to do everything that everybody would really like to do, which is like to speak in an unfettered way, in a long form, in a way that's kind of not governed by industry standards and,
Right.
you know what I mean? And I hate you because I used to work there, not because I'm just like a person
I
who's
know.
judgmental.
I know
Okay.
you used to work
Well,
there.
Yeah. So whatever. I don't care if they know. I didn't speak to them on the carpet for like 10 years. But I wonder, and this is really like a heady question and very much about hubris. But when you are anyone, okay, how am I going to do this?
Just say it.
Okay, if you're a woman and you don't have kids, I think you start to think about what your legacy is going to be. If you're someone who has kids, then your legacy is your children, right? What you're going to leave behind are these people, and you're going to try to make them into good people or whatever. I don't know. Maybe you're going to be Trump and make them into fucking automaton robot demons. But if you're like a real person, you're going to try to make good people who will like carry on your values, right? Whatever that is.
Yeah.
But if you don't have kids, I do think, and you're somebody like you, and who's smart and ambitious and thoughtful, I think you think about what you're going to leave behind, right? Like how you're going to affect the people around you. And I mean, I might not be thinking about it literally, but I think it kind of floats in the background.
You definitely think about like how you're going to be remembered, but I never associate that with having children.
Because you probably never wanted to do it.
Well, right. I just think if you leave enough of a mark, or if you pave the way for enough people, or you make things non-issues that people assume are issues, then you're breaking down the conversation in a way. So it's more of like a kind of, I feel like if you're chipping away at something, then you're helping a ton of people in the long run. It's not necessarily like you're remembered in, I don't know, history books, or you're not the president of the United States or something where people are going to remember you for generations and generations, but you're doing something different. The only thing I don't want to do is do the same thing. Like, I don't want to be like other people in the way that like, oh, when I was leaving E and people were like, well, you should do this show, you should be on this nighttime show or CBS or ABC. Like, I'm like, no, I'm not stepping into somebody else's shoes.
Right.
Then I'm just another pawn in your fucking game.
Right,
I want
exactly.
my own game.
Yeah.
And then if I fail, I fucking fail, and that would be miserable. But I have a pretty good idea that if you take a big enough leap, you're gonna find out some good stuff.
Right.
And
then,
I'm really happy. And listen, it's not easy. It's fucking brutal. It's brutal to start something and have everybody criticize you, and you put yourself on like kind of a soapbox to be criticized, because I wasn't going to conform. I wasn't going to do the same thing every night. I won't do it. Sometimes the show is a dinner party. Sometimes it's completely about Russia. I went to, or it's focused on a city. Sometimes there's in-studio guests. And in the beginning, I've only been on the air for like 4 months, but it was brutal. Like some of the reviews I got, I was like, fuck. And then I was like, Chelsea, you've never been a critical darling. You've never been. So what was more important to me was getting my feet lodged, because Netflix is so supportive about like getting you to the right place. And I got off to a rocky start in, my opinion, because I wasn't comfortable with a couple of things that were happening. And then once I did get settled, then I know that feeling. I know when you're on it.
Right.
And that feeling, I didn't know if it was going to come. There were like maybe 4 or 5 weeks where I was like, oh fuck, I'm not hitting it. I'm not relaxed. I'm tight. As a performer, when you're hitting it. And I was like, oh shit, what if I've lost it? And it's like, I needed that. I needed to feel that insecure.
Yeah.
I needed it. And I was like, and the minute I got it, I was like, thank you, God, if I believed in you. And in those moments, I believe in something. I don't know what, because
Some
there's
kind of
no other
magical-
explanation why you could get so fucking lucky that it does resonate. And then all of a sudden, good reviews started happening, and people in word of mouth. And it was, if you succeed at everything right away, you just don't learn anything.
You can't be good. I mean,
And it's still, it's still a work in progress. Everything is a work in progress.
Right.
Always.
Right.
I don't ever want to coast.
Yeah.
I like being uncomfortable until I am. And then I go, why the fuck did I do this? Why am I so uncomfortable? And then I get comfortable. I'm like, oh, that was nice.
Right. But I mean, I guess like that's the thing. Like, I think somebody like you craving that discomfort, like, when you're feeling uncomfortable, it's because you're growing. Like literally the feeling of discomfort, of struggle
Yes.
is like the place where where you feel like, okay,
Yeah.
fuck, I'm being challenged. I'm evolving.
Right.
Because I agree with you. Like the worst thing I can think of would be to just be coasting, to be like, oh, I'm good at this. I'm just going to keep doing it this
I could have
way.
stayed at E for 5 more years and made
Yeah,
$10
and
million
they were
a
dying to
year.
keep you over there, I imagine,
But I didn't
yeah.
fucking want to do that. I'm
Yeah.
like, then I'm a loser. Then I'm not doing anything special with my life. Like, if I'm going to be in this stupid industry to begin with, I better do something interesting. I
Right.
better go be doing something that I'm proud of, where I can at least like talk about social issues and talk about politics and
Which
make
you
a
couldn't
difference.
do on that show. Could you do any of that
Could. I
stuff
mean,
on
they
that?
were always like, oh, you can do it. You can talk about whatever you want, do whatever you want. I'm like, but it's E.
Yeah.
I'm sandwiched between the Kardashians and some other shitstorm,
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Lochte, like whatever and I'm like, it's not, no one's coming to E to listen to me. If I were to do that on that network, it wouldn't have been received well.
Right.
It's hard to do something different, period. But, I took a year and a half off, and I was so grateful that I did, because I did come back a little bit shaky, but I learned, I went everywhere I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
Not everywhere I wanted to go, but I made sure I made the most out of that year. I'm like, you may never have a year and a half off again. So just make sure. I went and bought a house in Spain. I went to French Polynesia. I learned how to scuba dive. I went all over the world, and I learned to, like, I hadn't traveled alone. This is really embarrassing to say, for 10 and a half years.
See, I think that's probably almost everybody in the world. Like like in the sense that like you shouldn't be embarrassed to say that, because I think most people never travel alone. I don't think, like, I'll go to dinner by my fucking self and everybody can go suck a dick. And most people are like, I could never sit in a restaurant alone. I'm like,
I love
God,
that.
it's the best.
I used to do it when I was a waitress all the time. I'd go to the movies by myself, but then once I became successful, like, I didn't fly commercially for 7 years.
Really?
I just pretended like I had money coming out of my asshole. And I did.
And you did,
Between
yeah.
touring, between being on the road.
And you
doing
were
books.
single, you had no obligations, right?
But
like,
but with that came an entourage that I traveled with all the time.
Right.
Like they're what you were talking about before. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to get back to the fucking person that I am.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
who am I, by the way? I go into a spa in Austria, what I was telling you about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
this 2-week detox spa. And I went by myself, and you like get your last stitch of food at like 5 p.m. And at 5 p.m., I'm like, now what the fuck? I mean, you get treatments all day.
this is when I should be having a drink, and I don't understand.
Yeah, like they clean out your asshole. You go get your feet. There's reflexology. But it's like a medical place.
Yeah.
And I just really was just trying to get healthy and to get my head clear. And I had been on all these vacations where you're drinking every night with your
Right,
friends,
right.
and renting yachts. Like being
Yeah,
absurd. But
yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna get every experience I can out of this.
Yeah.
And so I left there, and I was like, I went to Salzburg for a day after, and I remember going and buying like a thing of chocolate covered almonds after I leave the spa.
Immediately.
I'm like
Just dirty your
fucking
asshole
had 3
immediately.
martinis, sitting by this
Filthy-
river in Salzburg. I
filth
like
up your asshole.
went like doing all the touristy things, because it's such a beautiful part of the world, and you're just like, oh my God, I'm alone. And I'd wake up at 2 a.m. there at the spa. You go to bed at 5, you wake up at 2 because your clock's all off, because your body's like adjusting to the food and the, detox. And I'd be like, what the fuck am I going to do now? I mean, I'd go paddleboarding on this lake in the morning by myself in this jumpsuit, and you're just waiting for time to go by. And I'm just like, just keep sitting here. You need to be alone. You
Yeah,
need to learn
yeah.
how to fucking be alone.
Yeah.
And I was like, you might never not have, if I had a boyfriend at that time, I would have been on the phone with him, and
Yeah.
he would have been like, come home.
Right.
Being untethered is a really kind of crazy independent thing that every woman should be celebrating, because
Yeah.
when you're not with someone, you grow.
Yeah.
And it sounds gay and cliche, and gay, I mean in the gay way, not homosexual
in the
way.
fun,
which,
awesome way.
Yeah, it's just like, you just have to figure that out, and you have to sit with yourself. I read more books in that year than I'd read in like the last 10 years, and I'm a reader, so I pride myself on actually making sure I read all these classics I hadn't read. I read Wuthering Heights, and I read Dorian Gray, and I read all these books that I just never got around to. Catcher in the Rye I had never read.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I just sat there with myself, and I was like, this is good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was only 2 weeks, but it was a lot more than I had. And then I spent some time in Spain by myself in between trips. So that was good for me. I really felt like, okay, you've got to get to know yourself and be alone with yourself. And now that I'm not in that life, like I don't have access to a private jet because I'm not doing stand-up anymore, which is like, I'm not on tour. I don't have.
Right.
I only do that sparingly. I'm like, go get on a commercial flight. It's good for you to fucking go to the airport.
Like interact with
asshole.
people.
Yeah.
Yes, be
fucking
human.
Prick. So I do it, and I'm proud of myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
good, you're normal. Like, I
Yeah.
could go to San Francisco and get a private plane, but I don't want to do that. That's stupid.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
easily get on a plane with other people. Like,
Yes, exactly.
I
Like,
don't-
it's not punishing.
I was getting to a point where I just felt so entitled, and that's not the reason behind all like of my decisions, but it was definitely a reason behind my like travel decisions. I
Right,
was like,
right.
you need to stop this.
Well, and also because your commerce, your engine is ideas, right? You're like what you're
Yeah.
doing is like interacting and talking. You can it's very hard to have ideas and be processing and manufacturing ideas when you go from isolated place to isolated place in a fancy way, in a fancy car, in a fancy
Yes.
plane, and then someone brings you your dinner, and then
Right.
and someone fucking wipes your ass for you, and you're like, okay, well, I'm enjoying myself, but I'm not a human being.
Well, yeah, you're doing that, and I also thought for a long time that I was getting my ideas from the people I was around all the time.
Right, and then
Like
you
I had
realize that.
never lived alone. I hadn't lived alone for 7 years. I had friends or family. People would always stay with me, and that was like a thing. Chelsea can't do that alone. She can't be alone.
Right.
And I had this roommate that lived with me, this lesbian woman, for 5 years. And finally, I was like, I need you to move out. Like,
She was living with you at your house that you're at now?
Yeah.
Okay, and
And
she was
I was
just a
like-
roommate?
Yeah.
Friend?
yeah, she was
Okay.
like one of my best friends,
Yeah.
but it was so codependent. I was like, I need you to move out. During this time, I was like, I need to be alone. I
Right.
don't know why I'm so dependent, and this relationship is not healthy. She's lovely and wonderful and adored me, but it was like all about me. Everything was all about me.
Right, which also, by the way, and this sounds so kind of like paternalistic and dismissive, but like you probably could perceive that not only was it not good for you, but like she didn't have a life. Like this
Yeah.
kid, this is unsustainable. We're not in a relationship.
right,
we're friends,
right,
but we're not in a relationship.
exactly.
Like go, and again, like I'm not even trying to be shitty, but like you need to go develop a life for yourself
That's
because at some
exactly
point
right.
this is going to end, and then you will have not been growing as a person because you were like fucking hanging out with me all the time.
Yeah, that's right. That's
You know?
exactly what it was. I was like, her whole life was about my life. And then finally I like took a look at it. We got into a disagreement about something and I was like, wait a second. Why is she lying to me right now? Unless she's fearful of me. Like, are you
Right.
scared of me?
Right,
Is that why
right.
you're lying to me? Because
Well, fearful that this is going to end. Fearful that this
Yeah.
situation is going to change.
And then I thought, oh my God, what am I doing to you? If you feel like you have to lie to me, then I'm like, then both of us are in deep trouble. Like, I don't want you're a fucking adult woman. And if you're worried about being able to bring somebody back to this house because it's my house or whatever the situation could have brought, I was like, I don't feel comfortable with that at all. And then I was like, and then the minute she moved out, like sadly for her, I was like, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
Living alone. I
Yeah.
just felt like I'd get home, I'd go to my pool, I'd read. I just drank a lot less. I didn't have somebody who was home ready to do whatever. We'd play ping pong until 3 a.m. and we had a fucking blast. But she was ready to, whatever I wanted to do. If I'm like, we're going to Whistler, we're going to skiing for a week, we're going to go heli skiing, we're going to do this, we're going to go, get scuba certified and go to, she was willing to do whatever I said. And I'm like, that's fun and adventurous, but like, there's an expiration date, I think. to
Right,
that.
right. There's an expiration to that because we're not in a relationship.
Right.
At some point, one of you or both of you are going to get in a relationship.
Right.
And then like, what is this thing?
Right.
And also like you're a friend, you're not an employee. Like you need to go develop a life for yourself.
Uh-huh.
And I think every relationship has like those limits, right? Whether you're actually in a relationship with someone, like you are dating them, where you're like, it's still important that like you be a person because the person I wanted to fuck had their own shit. You need to have your own
Right.
shit because if all your shit is my shit,
Yes.
then
Right.
what is there between us that makes us attractive to each other?
Yeah.
Like ours, like
There has to be conflict for a friendship to like grow.
Conflict,
There has to
difference.
be a disagreement. You have to have an argument and be able to get through it. I mean,
or just fucking get home at night and have stories. Like, what did you do all day?
Yeah.
I don't know. I sat around here waiting for you to come back. Like, God, I cannot get a boner for you at all.
Right. And you need challenge. You need to be challenged. Like
Yeah.
you need somebody to be like. I mean, my best relationships are people that I've had disagreements with because, it is another thing, the cliche thing to say, but you become closer and you grow with somebody when you have a conflict and they say, I don't agree with you. I don't like the way you did that. That was out of line.
Mm-hmm.
And you're stung and you retreat and then you come back and go, yeah, I fucking fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
For me that's a big problem because I get away with murder in my life. I always have. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. Everybody let me get away with murder. My
Mm-hmm.
brothers, my sisters, my parents, everyone was too tired. They were
Right.
just like, fine, fuck, let her. I was awful. And for a lot of my adult life, I acted like a spoiled brat. And I just, I don't want to be that way. I don't want to be stomping my feet and throwing tantrums.
Are these realizations new? Is this a real? Is this a
So.
new
I mean, in
sense
the
of
past,
yourself?
yeah. I mean, at E, it was the same thing. I'd be like, I'm not doing that when they would call and be like, we need you to take that out for this advertiser. You can't make fun of Dr. Scholl's. That's a sponsor. I'd be like, fuck Dr. Scholl's. I'm not fucking listening to you. And part of that was necessary to be like, just fuck you. Don't fuck with me because.
Right.
But where did I get off behaving that way? I didn't. They could have fired me, but they didn't. I don't know why they didn't. I mean, I ended up quitting, which is the biggest joke of all. So that relationship was never even. You know, I was calling the shots, and they just did whatever I said. And they'd give me warnings every once in a while, like, you're going to lose your job. I'm like, I don't think so. I was like, I don't fucking think so. Like, at least with Netflix, I'm with somebody I'm proud to be seen with in public.
Right, exactly.
If Ted Sarandos calls me and says, you can't do this again, I'm going to go, I won't.
Yeah, exactly. Because also, but you know why? Because you have more latitude generally to do what you want. So, okay, I can give that up because I'm getting so much of what I want here. I'm able to make the show that I want.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about this stupid fucking sponsor or your odd, delicate sensibilities. And the fact that, I mean, one interesting thing about you, and I think was that you were, you were interviewing celebrities on your show on Chelsea Lately, but also you were eviscerating celebrity culture on a network that literally has its mouth on the penis of celebrities. Do you know what I mean? Like how could you truly be free to do what you were doing when you were at a place that was like on the teat of like,
you're right.
You know what I mean? Like it was never going to be a perfect fit. And that is not a counterculture place over there. I mean, they are not clever. They're not clever. They're not.
No. So
incisive.
Anything that happened was never like a directive from them. It was just like, oh, you can do, they just let me do what I wanted, and I did, and I didn't have any guideline. I mean, they would literally, the lawyers would call me like, she can't say that, she can't do that. I'd be like, don't fucking call them back. Feed that in, we're doing it.
Yeah.
That's how I behaved.
Yeah.
And while that's nice and badassery in a way some people could perceive, in the ultimate way, like ultimately, I don't want to live like that. I want somebody who is giving me actually sound notes that I respect. I want to be in a respectful partnership.
You want a partner that you respect, that you actually feel like they're making you better.
Yeah. So the realization of all of those things, when you take a look at yourself, I had never been alone for so many years between books and stand-up and all the stuff. Like one book led to a stand-up tour, and then the next one led to, and it just kept going on simultaneous to the show, or simultaneously, I don't know. And then finally, like I was talking to a therapist or somebody, I'm like, what the fuck's up with me? I go, she moved out, I'm alone, I've been traveling alone. He's like, you've never had time to really assess what's around you. And finally, this is your first time off that you've had in 8 years. And you're like, and the 5 years before that, we're gearing up for, I was trying to get something going on several different shows with development deals and whatever. And he was like, you've never been alone. You've never sat in your life and gone, wait a second, I don't like this. Because you're always, traveling, and spinning and working. And so it was I was like, yeah, you're right. I haven't. And I don't fucking want to live like this. I don't want to be some girl that's dependent on all my friends and babysat.
Because there's an intense, and there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable, but there's something else in that, and like not being able to be alone. Do you know what I mean? There's another kind of real.
Yeah, and I have a lot of friends like that. Now that I'm out of it, I see it.
Yeah.
And whether it's with a lover or it can come in many different forms. Obviously, it can be friends, it can be your family, but it's just codependency. And it's
just a fear, most people have a fear of knowing themselves. You know what I mean? Like, it's just hard to kind of be like, okay, who the fuck am I? That's a hard question to ask. I don't think most people ask it.
Do I like to read books?
You
start to go, am I trying to read books to look smart, or do I really like it?
Right.
And then you're like, well, read a book and find out. Like, how long has it been since you've actually sat? I'd come home from there and I'd be reading such heavy shit that I didn't even like. Like, I'd come home from E and I'd be reading Kierkegaard. I hated every second of it. I didn't fucking care about Kierkegaard, but I was trying so hard to balance my intelligence.
Balance this other part of your life that felt kind of fluffy.
Why don't you try reading a fucking book you like and see what happens then?
Yeah.
So it was like all of this shit.
Yeah.
And none of it's serious, because it's just, we're talking about E and we're talking about a great career where I make millions of dollars and I don't have anything to want for in my life. But even whatever you have in life,
everybody's shit is their
you're
own
always
shit,
still an asshole at the bottom of it.
No matter, you could be living in a trailer park right now and drinking wine out of a paper bag, you'd still be a dick.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, that's just pretty much the essential aspect of being alive. Okay, we're almost at the end. I really got you for exactly the amount. Well, I could talk to you forever, but I got you for exactly the amount of time that I wanted you. And you have this show and it's working now. And I think, what's exciting about it is you were kind of going into something that some aspect of territory that felt kind of untrodden to you. You know what I mean? That you wanted to do something that was more intellectual, that was more resonant, that felt better to you, closer to who you are as a person. And also maybe closer to who you are now. You know what I mean? Because I think, like, you know, what's nice about getting older is you just start to, your scope widens. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And bullshit goes away. Meaningless bullshit falls away. You know what I mean? I guess, this is, okay. I don't know why sometimes I struggle with these questions. Sometimes they're too big to kind of like ask in one sentence. But this place that you're in now with the show and what it's looking and feeling like, is it feeling like you're kind of in your sweet spot now? Because I also feel like if you're somebody who wants to challenge yourself all the time, you're never quite ever going to get in the cut, which is okay. You know, you're always going to be like, okay, I've got to pivot because now this is feeling good.
I think life is full of sweet spots. I think that you get, you know, getting into a sweet spot doesn't mean you stay there forever. I think like, you know, you get there in 6 months, you're like, okay, now I've got to pivot. I've got to do this differently. Or I've got to, you know, right now it's so focused on the election and the silliness of that. And hopefully, you know, I don't want to underestimate the situation, but I think
I have a stomach ache every time I fucking think about it.
I know, it's awful, but I just can't believe it's like we underestimated him and now this is a possibility. So let's not pretend that it won't happen.
Yeah, let's not take it seriously.
So I think that, you know, life is full of sweet spots and it's full of like what we just spoke about. Like you can feel like you're hitting it and you're on it and you're productive. And the only thing that I know now for sure is like, I've always known to make myself uncomfortable, but I didn't understand like, you know, how to take a beating. Like, I think things came very easy for me. Like, I kind of always lucked out. Even though I was going through my personal struggle, the way people perceived my career to go was like, oh, she gets it, whatever. She hasn't had anything, any failures or anything. And it's like, no, that's not how it feels for me. Like, you don't know what it was like for 10 years doing stand-up and fucking bombing for 5 years, or you don't know what it was like.
I know what it feels like. But
you know, not
exactly.
everybody knows. It's so great. It wasn't your struggle, but it doesn't mean it wasn't my struggle.
Right.
You know how many times I sat on the phone with my sister crying, like, am I ever going to make it? Am I ever going to fucking make it?
Or sitting in a shitty little hotel, like,
going, why is there cum on my
alone?
fucking curtains? Like, I have to sleep in this place where there's cum stains on my curtains.
I used to be so obsessive. Like, I would get wipes and I would like clean every surface, and then I would like pull all the stuff off the bed and like.
See, I was never good at cleaning, so I didn't even do that. I would just like hide and sleep on a shirt. Like, I would put my shirt over a pillow, and that shirt was probably filthy too. And I would just hope for the best.
One part I did enjoy that I actually even wrote about it in a book was like it was so miserable, but I loved it. It was like picking a scab. It was getting back from the club at like 2 a.m, and the feeling of kind of like being with people and then being like dramatically alone. Like you'd had all this adoration, and now you're like alone. Alone. And it felt like delightful and tragic. Like it was very scab picky. I would go to the bar and I would get like sometimes a bottle or a glass of like, you know, whatever, Sauvignon Blanc. And I would get them to put bar mix into like a giant plastic cup. And then I would sit in the bed, or I'd just pick through the bar, like the fucking mini bar, and like just eat in the bed and
like
watch Law and Order reruns and feel fucking
like
so sad for myself.
Torn.
Like, oh God.
I definitely went through feelings like that where you're like, I don't know how I do it.
How am I doing it? How am I living through this? This is like I was one step away from like cutting. You know what I mean? I was just like, this is my version of cutting. Like eating like 1,000 calories worth of bar mix in the middle of the night in the bed.
You have these like fantasies when you're growing up with these dreams of what you want to happen.
Yeah.
And then they happen and you're like, you miss it. You miss that moment. You're like, oh, I'm at fucking Madison Square Garden, or I'm fucking on stage, you know, at Carnegie Hall. And you like, you have to remind yourself, whoa. Don't just walk out there.
Yeah.
This is a moment. This is one of those moments.
Yeah.
And then, so you remind yourself of those moments where, like, you know, I always had this fantasy that I would be able to grow up and like buy my mom 1 million homes and do all these wonderful things. And then my mom died. And I was like, before I became really successful, she died. But she always was, you know, she always was confident that all these things would happen for me. And I didn't understand it. So I was like, I wanted it to be true too. But you're like, well, that didn't happen for me. So, you know, what? So then you have this like fantasy of what you're going to do for your family, you know, like I'm going to take care of my brothers and I'm going to take care of my sisters. And when those moments happen, they're beautiful, but they're ephemeral.
Yes.
It doesn't last forever.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, wait, that was that. And I was present and okay, now what's my value?
Yeah.
So even though they're beautiful moments and you can have those kinds of things with people, it's like, you really have to just be good at being yourself on top of all of that. Because if you're living your life for those moments, you're a fucking addict.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And
you're only living through the reflection of yourself and other people.
And it's much more interesting in the long run to see somebody who's able to just really persevere and go after new things and be challenged and you know, like I fucking hate taking Spanish every fucking Tuesday night. And I do it because I hate it. Because why is my life supposed to be all about it being enjoyed? Like, why am I supposed to enjoy everything?
Why is this supposed to be a
I
soft
should learn
landing?
another language.
Yeah.
I need to know. I've been studying for a year and I can now get by at a restaurant. First word I learned was yellow, which is ice. But like I
Yellow
do
por
things.
mi vodka.
I do things to make myself uncomfortable all the time because I just want to make sure that I don't ever get away with thinking I'm fucking extra special.
Right. Yeah. I love you. Okay. We're going to do the last part of the show.
Okay.
It's called self-inflicted wounds. I didn't warn you about it, but I believe in you.
Am I going to have to cut myself? Because I'm ready to.
You do. We'll do it together. We'll have matching lines. Sorry, people out there actually cut and think that I'm mocking you. Okay, so self-inflicted wounds is a story that everybody tells on the show about something that's gone wrong in your life that's your own fault. So it can just be anything at all. And it's the story that you run into a bar and go, oh my God, you guys, I was
got
such a
one.
fucking asshole. Okay.
This is really asshole.
I love it.
This is bad.
I'm literally
This is bad on so
beside
many
myself.
levels because it's gross that I'm going to share this with people. But I just want you to know how fucking fucked up I was in my head. This is how fucked up I was. So I was dating a guy. He'll remain nameless.
Barack Obama.
And we were in a relationship, and he was definitely somebody that was not trustworthy. And he had come out to visit me in LA. We had a long distance relationship, and he lived in New York mostly. And we would go back and forth a lot to see each other. And I was really bad when I dated him. I was really insecure. I was not myself. I checked his phone. I went through his shit. I was always thinking he was up to something because he was.
Right.
Like girls only do that because you're fucking up to something.
Right.
Like I've never acted that way before in my life with another person. I like to go through people's shit anyway, but not, you know what I mean?
Just
Not
out of
to that level.
curiosity. Not
So,
suspicion.
and this was a terrible time where I was like taking sleeping pills all the time, just fucking out of control. I
Right.
was out of control.
Right.
Drinking, blah, blah, blah. And
all those things make you paranoid, by the way.
yes, exactly. You're like, oh, why am I paranoid? I don't know, because I'm on Ambien, it's 3 a.m, and his phone, I've just figured out his fucking code because I was watching him. Anyway, I was just a mess. And by the way, I'm pro drugs for everybody as long as you're a normal person. Like, don't just be a fucking lunatic. You know what I mean?
Right,
don't
exactly.
don't do them every day, and just be able
an
to
adult.
know how to be
Just
an
be
adult.
Yeah.
So I try not to judge people who do drugs. So I went through his phone, found whatever I was looking for. You know, even something is something when it was nothing maybe, but to me it was something. Woke him out of his sleep, went off on him, just went nuts. I was like, you fucking cheated. And he was just like, I can't deal with this anymore. I can't. You would try to assuage me and da-da-da. And I was crazy, like a lunatic, you know. I'm so embarrassed of the way I behaved during that time. And this was a long time ago, but still, it was embarrassing. And, I don't know how long we had been dating. Probably not very long, or long enough to know that he was untrustworthy, but still not acceptable behavior. So we get up the morning. I kept him up half the night, probably screaming at him. We finally somehow fell asleep. And I woke up in the morning, went to my work. I think I was on Chelsea Lately at the time. May have been the beginning. No. Yeah, I was on Chelsea Lately. And I woke up in the morning and we're supposed to go back to New York for this big Halloween party. Mm-hmm. And I was paranoid about him spending Halloween without me because I knew that he had like hooked up on the last Halloween and that was his thing. Like Halloween's a sexy holiday and I fucking hate Halloween. And I got up the next day and basically after I had found something on his phone that wasn't necessarily incriminating, but it was enough. It was just like, it was enough for him to have to apologize, but him refusing to, going, this is behavior. I'm not putting up with this. You can't go through my phone. You can't. I go, but I found something because that's not the point. You are not allowed to go through my phone. That is so inappropriate. And I just went, no, it's not. You have to forgive me. Begged for forgiveness, basically, throughout the day.
Okay, so you'd given all the shit the night before, but then the next day you're like, wait, I'm
Next day, I
sorry,
was
I'm
like,
sorry.
I'm so sorry I behaved that way. I can't
Yeah.
believe I went through your phone. That was gross. I'm so
Right,
sorry. I'm so
right.
sorry. Like a psycho.
Yeah, well,
I
feelings.
ended up chartering because he was like, I don't think you should come to New York with me. We're done. I think we're done. And I was like, no, I'm coming to New York with you. I chartered a private plane to New York so that he would have no choice but to be with me on the plane. Mm-hmm.
That's very enticing, by the way. You're like private flight.
I'm like, I got a plane. I'm coming with New York to you. That was just a bad night. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that again. It was bad. I took an Ambien, blah, blah, blah. You know how that's fucked up and, blah, 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 whatever I had to. He's like, I don't want to go with you. I don't want to go with you. I don't trust you. You're fucking crazy. You're going to be like this. And when we go to that party, you're not going to trust me. We go to the party. I finagle, I spent, I think, $280,000 to charter that plane. Like, it was my friend's plane, and I said I needed to borrow it. That's what I spent. It was something absurd. It wasn't just like getting a jet to New York, which is $50,000.
Yeah.
It was like $280,000. That's how desperate I was to stay in that relationship with somebody that I did not trust.
That you didn't even trust, that you really, on some level, didn't want, or
No.
knew wasn't yours.
I mean, I don't know what was wrong with me that I would allow myself to behave that way.
Human being.
The whole time in my gut, knowing this is wrong, everything you're doing is wrong. But I just wanted that instant gratification. I didn't want to think about him at a Halloween party alone without me. That's
Right.
how little I thought of myself. So I went, and especially if we were broken up, who knows how he would behave, because I knew he would coming back. He was always like, desperate to be with me, but just like trying to put down his foot. So we took this private plane home. I could have, we go to New York, we go to a party on Halloween, and he comes up to me at the end of the party and he's like, I have a girl that we could go home with. And I was like, what? This is exactly why what do you mean? Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go home with a girl. I don't want to have a threesome. And he was like, all right, calm down. I'm like, no, I don't want a threesome. And we didn't go home with the girl. We went home. It turned into another big fight. The next we woke up on a
Because I
Sunday.
imagine you were saying you were just trying to engineer a way to cheat, with my
I was
complicity.
just like, wait, we just had this fight. Now you expect me to I don't want to introduce that into our relationship. And how could you possibly think I would be okay with that? Because I begged and cried for his forgiveness. He probably thought, oh yeah, I could get away with this.
She's
as long
vulnerable
as
now.
She's there.
Yeah.
It's not cheating. We get back. It was a Sunday afternoon. We somehow make up, but it wasn't, and that night we came home and there was an earring I found on his bedstand. And I was like, oh, you do cheat. You definitely cheat. Like, that was our whole dialogue. It was like everywhere I was looking, there were signs, and I didn't trust my gut enough. And then $280,000 later, it was like, yes, you did. And he got caught and he finally admitted it. And then that relationship ended.
Right.
But that's what I did to myself. And in the long run, you could say it was a good story, but I could have left so much earlier. Do you know what I mean? Like, the idea that I would spend the amount of money that somebody could buy a house with because I wanted to stay with a guy made me really think about things.
Who you knew
Was
in your gut
bad for me.
was not
and
available
I've
to
never
you.
behaved that way. And for me to have, for somebody to know that about me, they'd be shocked. Like, anybody who knows of me or knows me would be like, what? And I did that. And I'm so embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed now because I know that it's just part of the shit that you go through when you're an idiot. But not that necessarily to that extent, but I'll never not trust my gut again. And it has nothing to do with that person. It has nothing to do with him even.
Yeah.
It has to do with me. Like, what the fuck was I thinking? So that was very harmful to me in many ways.
And but what's so great about the way that you processed it is seeing, okay, whatever choices that person was making, they were making their own choices.
Yeah.
My choice was to stay. My choice was to be in this relationship.
Yeah.
My choice was to compromise whatever kind of set of values I had for myself, which again is just fucking human.
Right.
You're not a bad person. Maybe you're an idiot because all people are idiots, but that's just being alive and wanting something for yourself and maybe not having clarity in that moment or in those ongoing moments. And one thing people do, and I'm not even going to make it men, one thing people do.
Yeah, it's not a male thing.
No, is make you feel crazy when you're right.
Yes.
So the big mistake that we have all made is letting somebody make us feel crazy when we're right. You know what I mean?
Right. And
allowing that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm a truth teller. Like, I pride myself on telling the truth, even when it's not being received well. Like, if somebody doesn't want to hear it, it's like, I'm your friend, so I'm never going to lie to you. So I pride myself on that, but you can't expect other people to behave the way you do. It's like, if somebody doesn't react to something the way you do, and I spent so much of my life getting mad at people because they don't get a joke or they're too uptight or they don't,
And you're like, well, I don't know what the fuck their deal is.
Right.
It's not my problem to judge. Like, judging people is not your issue. It's like, he was a damaged person. I was a damaged person. We shouldn't have been damaged together. We should have just stopped. But yeah, that was like a place, that was definitely a time I look back and I just think, oh, that was so gross. The whole thing was so gross. From A to B to C to D, you know?
Oh my
And then I'm
God.
flying alone. I'm flying alone home on that fucking G5 or whatever I chartered from a
God.
friend of mine, alone. Like, knowing that I was right all along.
Right. But not feeling
Going
vindicated.
with him,
not feeling vindicated.
But going with him all the way to New York to babysit him, only to be shown exactly what he would have done when I wasn't there, while I was there.
Right.
So-
Yeah, that's the frustrating thing, is it wasn't like you were able to go home triumphant. Like, I knew
Right.
it. You're like, oh God,
Yeah.
I could have stayed in LA.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you know.
So anyway, that's a nice
Being a
close to your
skeptic,
show.
being a skeptic, you had to see for yourself. You're my favorite. And hooray. The end. Bye. That was Chelsea Handler. I really love that. I really love that conversation. Sometimes I have guests and they are happy to be there, but they don't have a lot of time. Chelsea gave me like the appropriate meaty like mound of time that was needed to have a proper Girl on Guy conversation. I haven't had one of these in a while. It was juicy. It was substantial. We were wrung out at the end of it. It was just a delight. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm really, really proud of that. Come say hi to me online. There are just a few episodes left in 2016. And if you want to ask me a question for the special all listener question show, now is the time to do it. As I say always, it's never too early, but it will be too late. Considering how ridiculous my schedule is, who knows what the fuck is going to happen. So if you've got a question for me, voice it now, because this is your shot. Maybe you've got a question about filmmaking. I made a movie this year. Hopefully it's going to come out next year. We're in the middle of getting it ready to submit to festivals. If you want to talk about art, if you want to talk about writing a book, if you want to talk about stand-up, if you've got a question about The Talk or Archer or Criminal Minds or Whose Line Is It Anyway, if you've got some kind of a mole you want me to examine, if you are wondering whether to ask out your creepy neighbor friend, these are all questions you can ask. I can't guarantee you're going to be happy with my answers or that they'll be useful or helpful in any way, but my point is, any question you have, pose it now. Go to girlonguy.net, send me an email. I think you just click on contact when you go there, and your email will make it to me, and I will collect them all, and I will answer them all at the end of the year. Don't forget to visit the archive. As you know, Girl on Guy is now a subscription show, but the last 10 episodes are always free, and you can listen to them in any variety of ways, including iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. Get the app for your iPhone, get the app for the Android. The most recent 10 episodes are always free, and the last 2 episodes are pretty spectacular. Viola Davis was 215, 216. Who was 216? Well, 217 is Travis Fimmel. That was a live from Comic-Con. If you haven't listened to that, Travis Fimmel of Vikings. 216 was Marianne Jean-Baptiste, who's also a brilliant mind and a fantastic conversation. But still in this last 10 episodes, Dave Navarro of Jane's Addiction and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, my co-star Cheryl Underwood. Lots of great interviews. So get at those now and come say hi to me, come follow me, friend me, all that shit online. Just Google my name. I'm sure the first 5 or 6 things that come up will be devastatingly upsetting to me, delightful to you. But after that, you can find my Twitter and Instagram and all those other handles and come say hi, come follow me, friend me online, say what's up. You guys are the greatest. You are my army. You are sensational, both individually and as a collective group. And you mean the world to me. Your support, your listenership means the world to me. And if you haven't already subscribed to the show, I suggest you do so, because that gets you access to almost 300 episodes of Girl on Guy for a paltry 79 cents a month. I put the show behind a paywall so that the show could continue to pay for itself. I took advertising for the show, but I was taking 5 ads a month, and now I'm only doing 1. It's not enough to cover the net of the show. As you know, I never did the show for money. I continue to pay for it out of pocket, but taking that ad and making the show subscription after the most previous 10 episodes just covers the cost of putting this show online, paying for the servers and the delivery systems and the syndication system that delivers the show to you. So that's why that's happening, but it doesn't mean I love you any less. And I think that you guys are literally the best human beings in the world, and you have impeccable taste in podcasts. All right, guys, I'm going to talk to you next time. In the meanwhile, get out in the street, kick massive ass, and I will talk to you on the next one. Late. Girl on Guy is a production of Hot Machine, blowing shit up since 2009.